Welcome everybody to the 2025 Shannon's Adelaide Rally. Fantastic to be here on this glorious Friday morning. Look forward to bringing you all of the action across the course of this weekend. I'm Dan McCarthy, and alongside me, the Martin Brundle of the Adelaide Rally, Nick Lenthal, a former competitor. Nick, great to have you back.
You're too kind, Martin Brundle now. All right. Dan, it's great to be here. Good morning, everyone. We are just sitting on top of the world, on top of the Corkscrew Road. The course opener has just started his run through special stage number 4, which is Cherryville plus number 1. First time they'll traverse this course for today. We have an absolute feast of rally cars coming up. 50 being timed, 25 in the ultra competitive Rally 2 or Rally Pro and competition sections. Dan, we're both very pumped up about this.
Absolutely. The last couple of years it's been growing again. During COVID it sort of took a bit of a dip, the Shannon's Adelaide Rally, but it's been really bouncing back since then. And as you say, huge field of competition cars this year, but the quality is so huge. We've got former WRC rally winners and this year's Australian rally champion in Hayden Paddon. Alistair McRae, former WRC driver, he will also be taking to the stages. Throw in and amongst that former V8 supercar drivers, the best that the Adelaide Hills drivers have to offer, veterans of the event that know these stages better than the back of their hands. It really does set up a fantastic event for us this year. And let's not forget, Nick, we've got not one, not two, but 3 Indonesian visitors as well.
We have got a massive contingent of people. I know we've got 3 teams visiting, but I think there were about 33 people there yesterday. Yes. At the drivers' briefing. We had a ball yesterday at the drivers' briefing. We interviewed so many great drivers from all over the world. We have people from Indonesia, New Zealand, Ireland. They've all come to do this rally. As you can see, our drone pilot there, Luke, is just giving you a guided tour down the Corkscrew Road and over the area around us of Cherryville. The course opener, I think, would be close to competing the stage by now, Dan. And I've got the cars queued up at the start of the stage. They haven't yet started, but we've got a real mixed bag for you today. We have the best rally escorts in the country. Jonathan Moyer in his Mark II Escort. We have Alistair McRae driving one of Tom Dermody's Mark II Escorts. Tom is here himself driving his Mark I. And we also have the star of the show, the most flamboyant rally driver in the world today, Frank Kelly, the Irishman whose tagline is fast, sideways and mental.
We've got a few showstoppers, haven't we? Frank Kelly's one of them. Jack Monkhouse, great to have him back, a former classic competition class winner, multiple time as well, actually. Great to have him back in 2025. As well, Matt Selly coming back, 2023 Adelaide Rally winner, took last year off, but back behind the wheel again in 2025. So we really are bringing the stars and the big names to the 2025 Shannon's Adelaide Rally. 3 stages have been completed already by the competition and Rally Pro class cars, and we are here, stage 4, Cherryville Plus, which takes place in the tiny little town of Cherryville, small town in the Adelaide Hills. It was named around 1840 after the native cherry trees that grew in the area. Obvious name.
That's right. And then they started growing them as orchardists in about the 1890s, and I think 1899 was when the post office opened with the name Cherryville on it. Now, Dan, we've already done a few stages this morning. The first stage was a bit of a warm-up at Beaumont, and that stage, while it's timed, doesn't count in the results. So that's just a pipe opener for the drivers and co-drivers to get their act together, to see what a speed zone looks like, just to get into the groove and to keep all the organisers happy that everyone's on their game. The next stage was the Eagle on the Hill, the old Eagle on the Hill road that if you're a South Australian, you remember there was a hotel at the top of that road called the Eagle on the Hill Hotel. It's now a private residence. But that is a short but sweet stage, one of my favourites, going uphill. And Dan, guess who was quickest?
It was the Australian Rally Champion. He wrapped it up just a couple of weeks ago in Tasmania. Hayden Paddon took that stage by quite a comfortable margin, actually. Stage 2. He now holds already a 6-second lead over the rest of the field. But my golly gosh, is it close after that with Alex Rouleau second. He in second is separated by just 6 seconds to the guys outside of the top 10 in 12th position. That is remarkable that from second to 12th, 11 cars separated by just 6 seconds.
Now, when you say Hayden Paddon made 5 seconds on Alex Rouleau, let's not forget that's 3.8 kilometres of road. That's better than a second a kilometre. And in rally speak, a second a kilometre is really, that's where you make or break it. In this stage, for instance, 19 kilometres of road, three sort of different types of road. You've got a pretty twisty start, the first third of the course down from Pound Road, where they just finished Knott's Hill stage, down to our position here where they turn into the corkscrew. Corkscrew gets even tighter, finishing with 4 hairpins down the bottom. And our drone pilot, Luke, will give you a look at those in a while. Oh, there he is. He's right on cue. Good on you, Luke. But you would have to go to somewhere like Monte Carlo or the Stelvio Pass in Italy to get a road like this. Then we turn onto Gorge Road, and it's fast, flowing, perfect tarmac. So you've got 3 different ingredients in one stage, 19 kilometres. Now, a second a kilometre, all of a sudden you've got a 20-second gap on the guy behind you. So a second a kilometre is big deal in rallying.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. What a unique stage this is. Talk us through what this one is like, Nick, because it really does have everything, and also one of the longest stages on the Shannon's Adelaide Rally this year. Well,
yesterday we interviewed Alistair McRae, Frank Kelly, Jonathan Moyer. Now, there's no coincidence that they all drive escorts, but I asked them if they'd been out and done some recce, and they had. I asked them if they had any favourites, and even though they didn't know the name of the stage, they all said the long one. The long one. We really like the long one. Cherryville Plus. So, look, let's not forget that these guys have only been at it for about an hour this morning, as we see Alex Rouleau.
Alex Rouleau
first on the road. There he is.
Oh, flinging it through this fast sequence of tight corners. You can see going from understeer to oversteer midway through that first corner. This is a committed run straight away. Oh, runs a little bit wide there. Got a whole armful of understeer, Nick. Here is
Hayden Paddon. Wow, he's made up some ground on Alex through there. These Rally 2 cars are fabulous to watch, Dan. They sound good. They are very, very sensitive to the driver. They're excellent to drive. Modern technology at its best, and these cars are so quick. And as we get down to the hairpins, you can see the handbrake and then the all-wheel drive just pulling the car out of the corner. Beautiful to watch.
Oh, certainly is. This is where Hayden Paddon will really come into his own, as we say. A rally winner, a World Rally Championship rally winner, doing so in the 2016 Argentine Rally. A real top performer for many, many years. Done well as well in the European Rally Championship before moving on to, in this year, the Australian Rally Championship. Here's the first of the local competitors coming through. The 725 machine of Oscar Matthews.
Oscar Matthews, a local crowd pleaser. And last year, Dan, when Alex Rouleau and Peter Rouleau came first and second in their Rally 2 cars, Oscar punched way above his weight, nipping their heels all the way through the event in this older car, older technology, and nothing like a Rally 2 car. So Oscar's going to be, with his local knowledge, he's going to be right in this.
Yeah, absolutely. Up next is Stuart Reid in the Mitsubishi Mirage APR machine, a relative regular in the Australian Championship. And there he goes, swinging it through. Bella alongside of him in the co-driver's seat. But attacking these stages is Stuart Reid through the hairpins, not using as much of the handbrake as we saw, particularly from Hayden Paddon there earlier on.
Stuart, a former Mitsubishi Works driver, and now we have
Matt
Selly in the Evo. Matt Selly with Hamish McKendrick alongside him, calling the notes. Matt, former winner of this event, alongside Oscar Matthews, actually. So they'll be looking for bragging rights for this stage. Dan,
when you say alongside, they weren't driver and co-driver in 2023 after that was a big mistake. That was very close to the Armco there on the right hand side for Stuart Reid. Just didn't keep the car rotating through the corner and slid wide. That was a sketchy moment there, but he's kept it on the black stuff and away from the barriers, which is good news. But yeah, it was a complete tie in 2023 between Matthews and Selly after 30 stages. Here's the first of our Indonesian visitors, the winner this year of the Indonesian Championship. So fantastic to have Ryan Niwan a part of the series this weekend.
And if you get a chance to get up close to the cars at the Bridgewater lunch stop or in Stirling over the weekend, that car looks sensational. The livery on the car is just brilliant. Dan and I saw it drive into the showgrounds yesterday and our jaws dropped. It's one of the best looking rally cars you've seen. And this, Dan, is the biggest selling car in Indonesia, with Jonathan Moyer right behind him. So we're going to see a pass through here. Because of their notes, they'll know exactly where they can pass.
This is not a section you want to catch up to, though. This is going to be fascinating to see how this is dealt with. So we have just in front in the expander, we have Rifat Sunkar, and then directly behind Moyer, who is currently third fastest in the timesheet. So this is going to cost him seconds, I fear. There he goes. Great work from Rifat to pull over to the left-hand side. Moyer really only lost a couple of seconds there at most. That was great heads-up driving from the Indonesian veteran.
Yep. And now we have, this is the Mazda of Moreno.
No, this is Josh Redhead, the New South Wales competitor, a New South Wales rally champion. Great to have him part of the event this year, a newcomer to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. Certainly brings a bit of Australian pedigree. And now it's the always sideways, the extravagant, the fantastic, the viral sensation that is Frank Kelly.
Frank Kelly, 70,000 social media followers, a crowd pleaser wherever he goes, all over the world. Had a chat with him yesterday, a nicer bloke you cannot meet, and his daughter Lauren, lovely people. And this guy is an inspiration to Ford Escort drivers all over the world. Drive it like you stole it, Frank.
And he certainly is doing that. Going to be fascinating to see how he approaches the hairpins. Here's another one. We've got two of the flamboyant drivers back to back with Jack Monkhouse in his iconic Datsun 180B. And yeah, great to have this a part of the event this year. Jack was right in and amongst, right in the middle of that really tight pack from second onwards, around about 8th position after the first couple of stages. Stage 3 finished just moments ago, so we haven't had time to even receive the third stage results. But at the moment, after 2 competitive stages, it's so incredibly tight. As the first, is this McRae?
This is Alistair McRae.
Very, very similar. Both red Escorts run by the same team. We've got Alistair McRae, of course, the younger brother of the late great Colin McRae.
Yeah. Alistair also had a chat with us yesterday, very accommodating, and loved to talk about rally. Now, he hasn't driven competitively for some years, and he went out and did his recce, and then he confessed he's actually really pumped about doing this. And I think you might even see Alistair doing a few rallies competitively from now on. He was so thrilled about the roads.
Doesn't look like he's lost anything in his time away, does it? He looks very fast out there on this stage, that is for certain. Now, somebody you know quite well behind the wheel of this one.
This is a different car. This is a very, very powerful V8 Ford Capri Piranha, driven by David McDonough, who is a double South Australian rally champion, and unusually he got those two championships down 30 years apart. One when he was a kid, and one last year or the year before. So Dave, really accomplished driver, and he loves this car. He normally runs an Evo on gravel, but he loves this big gutsy V8 Capri.
Absolutely. And as well, Nick, we should talk about the fact that there is a competition class, but for the classic cars, pre-1986. So all of the Escorts that you've seen, that machine as well, the Capri, they'll all be in the classic competition category.
They will. And this car, this is not a new car for Andre Lukash. This is the same car with a new livery. He told me, he tried to tell me it was a new car the other day, but I picked it straight away. Andre is a very keen punter as well, and he'd be loving the fact that he's got these guys to benchmark himself with, because he does have a lot of local knowledge. He's done this rally many, many times, and he is a good steerer. As we see Adam Kaplan just joining us in the BMW. This is a relatively stock, I say in inverted commas, BMW M3 E46, and he's having a good run. I just met his mechanic up here, who they are watching from our vantage point as well, and yeah, he loves this event. He is a former winner in the Mazda RX-7, and it was a very convincing win too, I might add. But loves his cars. He's competed here in the Walkinshaw V8 Commodore, even a Giocottolo some years back, which ended badly. But Adam is a great driver on these roads.
Certainly is, absolutely, and he's swinging it through these tight hairpins. I'll tell you what, Nick, I've driven this road a few times, being an Adelaide local like you, and even doing it at road speed's difficult, let alone pushing flat out.
It is. And is that Nick Strakheisen, I think?
It is.
And Mike Dale in the 944 Porsche. Now, these guys, don't rule them out. This is a very effective car. Nick is a very handy steerer, and Mike Dale will be whipping him, because Mike doesn't tolerate drivers slowing down. He's a very competitive guy, and he'll want to be up there with the rest of them.
Looked to me like there's a car not too far behind him. We might see it down through the sequence of hairpins. These corners just get tighter and tighter as you go down. It's a remarkable bit of road, and then, as you said, it really does open up when they get to the bottom down at Gorge Road, a couple of kilometres further down. Some of the fastest stage action that we see all weekend long as he swings it through the left hand. Oh, that's in a little bit deep as well. And in the words of Monty Python, now for something completely different.
This is the Bowden Mustang. Very keen car collectors and makers of auto car care products. A beautiful car, like a blast from the past, a 64 Mustang Coupe. At left-hand drive it was too, Dan, I think.
Ah.
Was it?
No, I thought they were all right-hand drive.
We had a look at it yesterday. As we see that car running down the hill. And by now you would have noticed that some drivers, especially the ones at the top in the Rally 2 cars, were keen to use the handbrake for the hairpins, whereas the other guys like Nick Strakheisen, he chose to use as much road as he could but not go for the handbrake. And look, sometimes it's a coin toss whether you're actually going to make time or lose time on the handbrake. But I see that the car following this car is the Mark 1 Escort of Lockie Cox, and he is catching the Bowdens. Now, this is where your local knowledge comes in. Lockie Cox, a lot of local knowledge, lives on the Lobethal Road, and he would know this road like the back of his hand.
Oh,
he's going to catch these guys through the hairpins, and I think he's going to have a straight presented to him at just the opportune time to pull out and pass this car. Although not easy to pass a Mustang, Dan.
No, absolutely not. Not in a straight line. Then we have a regular, very, very frequent visitor to this event, Zach Hegday.
Zach Hegday. Zach, apologies for calling you Zach Hedge last year. We can thank Microsoft spell check for that. But Zach has been a competitor for some years in this event now, and he's actually become besotted by rallying. He now competes on gravel as well, and he now also has a Porsche service and race prep operation in Adelaide. So he's really embraced the whole culture of this sport.
One of the loudest cars here, isn't it, this one? It absolutely echoes around the hills of Adelaide as we look to two veterans of the rally. They've done challenge the last couple of years, but stepping back up into competition this year. It's John Connolly and his co-driver, Michael McMichael.
It is. Michael would be known to all the BMW people in Adelaide for having his long-time service business. And John Connolly, of course, is the guy that you read the motoring section in the Australian every Saturday. So both been around cars a long time. Mike handles the prep and John owns the car. So it's a very, very good setup there, I think.
Absolutely. And then the old Berliner
of Mike Lowe, another local Adelaide Hills man with a very rare car. These cars, of course, sometimes known as the Fiat Cinquecento, the 500, but when they started racing them in Italy in their heyday, they very quickly put bigger engines in them, got them out to 850 cc's, and they absolutely annihilated the opposition in that small capacity class of racing. They just dominated for years and years and years, and this is a true example of one of those cars. It's a very rare car, and if you can get to one of our lunch stops, you want to go up and have a look at this car. Mike would love to have a chat with you, and he's very engineering minded, and he'll tell you about all the technical aspects of this little car.
1 litre engine, 1 litre. You think you go to your local shop, whether it be Woolworths, Coles, Foodland here in South Australia, and you buy a carton of milk, your engine is that size. It's quite remarkable, really. And you think that MotoGP, the sizes of their engines are only a couple of hundred cc smaller than what this is.
Yeah, with probably 4 times the horsepower. No, Mike is known for his unusual choices. He has another car which is a Fiat Nicky with a motorcycle engine in it.
Yeah,
probably wanted the big horsepower version, so he went for a motorcycle engine. Yeah. You can see the cars. I think we just saw Mike slow there. That would be a low speed zone that they're going through, just to limit the speed build up, because that is a long straight and you'd probably easily go over 200k if you were really on it down there. So Tim and his team incorporate a low-speed section where the cars have to drop to 60 kilometres an hour. Their Rally Safe checks that, and if they don't do it, they get penalised. So they have to do that. It's for the safety of all the drivers. Sometimes you'll see them because they're close to water, or it's a very precarious corner, something that could catch you out unawares, especially if you're from interstate and you don't know the roads. So that's just another one of the safety features of the event that Tim has incorporated even before Motorsport Australia started making those things mandatory in some events.
Yeah, well said, Nick. Absolutely. Great to see a few people here just on the hillside. That's where the chicane is, right at the start of our little section of road. If you say this is one of the longest stages of the rally, that's where we are located, inside the van. We're not in the church, we're next to the church, but that is where the spectators are. You can see them just at the bottom of the hill at the top of the screen. So through that chicane and then onto that very tight and twisty road. The Streamcraft media team all set up around the little 1 kilometre stretch that we are covering, and you can see it's a small little operation, but what a fantastic job they do.
Oh, they're terrific. They're really good guys. They're very dedicated to what they do, and they're all motorsport guys. They're all passionate about what they do, and they're all involved in different categories of motorsport. So we love working with them. It's great that they're prepared to have us aboard.
Absolutely.
As you can see, that the beautiful countryside there in that we're situated at, and there's that closer for that category just coming through.
So that concludes the Rally Comp and Rally Pro competitors, and we're going to go into the Tours for a little bit now, but don't go anywhere because there are more timed rally cars to come through in both Challenge and TSD in the not too distant future. But between then and now we have heaps of tours. This is where you can bring your motor vehicle down that you drive every day. You are speed limited, but you can go out and have a good go on some lovely Adelaide hills. So this is the Zagame Tour, the BMW Mini Tour, Solitaire Automotive, Mercedes AMG, a couple of Porsche Tours, the Porsche Centre Adelaide, the Porsche Club, Ferrari Club, a brand new one this year, Nick, then Hyundai, Honda, and then the main tour. And that's for people like me and you that have our cars that we love to drive around the Adelaide Hills, so you can bring that into the main tour and have a crack yourself.
You can do. And speaking of Zagame, I think we've got some message from them that you can have a look at.
Tour has been part of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally for many years and includes a large variety of modern sports cars and supercars. This category is tailor-made for somebody that loves modern machinery, made by Ferrari, Porsche, McLaren, Maserati, and even Aston Martin. The list goes on and on.
Some gorgeous cars in there, Dan. It's a very mixed bag. I mean, we've got the main tour, for instance, has 57 cars in it, and it's a real mix of some very eclectic stuff. So we'll have a lot to talk about as these cars go through. But as you said, there's tour groups from all the brands, and one of the reasons for that is that, you know, years ago, a manufacturer or a dealer would put an ad in a newspaper, and that was called advertising or marketing. These days it's entirely different, and a big feature of marketing today to your owners is to get them all together in a group so they can all enjoy their motor cars, they can all chat to each other, and in doing that they become advocates for the brand. You can tell them about the new product that you've got that's coming, and they actually go out and spruik for your brand. They tell people what a great time they had on the Zagame tour, and why you should go in and talk to the guys at Zagame, who of course are on Glen Osmond Road. They have Lamborghini, they have McLaren, they have Lotus, Bentley, and look, if there's not one of those that makes you happy, then you can choose from a vast array of used cars as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's a pretty gusty day here today, isn't it? And a little bit overcast this morning, but we are set for a top of 25 degrees once the cloud cover does move away. It's going to be quite a warm one here today, despite being in the Adelaide Hills. But what an event this has turned into in the last couple of years, Nick. We have to thank, of course, Shannon's, the title sponsor of the Adelaide Rally, and has been for many, many years. Like us, they share our passion for motoring, and they cover anything from not only your road car but your tools and everything in between as well. But the South Australian government also gets behind the event as well, so with thanks to them, they really do make life easier when it comes to driving around these iconic Adelaide Rally stages. But what an event it is turning into. The point I was going to make, Nick, this year 489 cars in total. It is now the biggest tarmac rally event in the world.
And it's in Adelaide.
In Adelaide. Awesome.
In Adelaide, yeah. We do punch above our weight. Who would have thought we would have had a Formula One Grand Prix?
Yeah.
Or a supercar race through the streets? Or a Le Mans style event on New Year's Eve? We've done all those things, and now we have the biggest tarmac rally in the world, thanks to Tim and his happy band of passionate motorsport people. Now,
let's not forget as well the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival, that blossoming event as well.
Yes, that's right, and of which Dan and I are also a part. So, yeah, how could we forget that, Dan? That's just another one of our gifts. I mentioned that the Zagame group was a mixed bag. So here's a bit of eye-watering information for you. There's 14 Ferraris in this group, 13 Porsches, 9 McLarens, 6 Lamborghinis, Mercedes, Abarth, BMW, Aston Martins, Audi, Maserati, and a Toyota Corolla. But not just any Toyota Corolla. This, you're all familiar with the term GR, Gazoo Racing, now that applies to the performance Toyota models and the rally cars. This is a Toyota Corolla GR, a GR Maurizio, it's called. So 3-cylinder, 1.6 turbo, as you know, a lot of your motor cars are today. It's a very popular setup for a lot of the manufacturers. But this one is 220 kilowatts from 3 cylinders, 1.6 and a turbo. It's also lightweight, so it's got a carbon fibre roof. It's a very rare car, and where a normal Toyota Corolla GR might cost you 50-ish, right? This one's 100.
Wow.
So this is a very rare car. 220 kilowatts, 400 newton meters of torque from a 1.6 litre 3-cylinder engine. That's technology.
It certainly is, certainly is. Despite all the multi-million-dollar cars that you read out, so the Toyota's the one that you're most interested in, which I find quite funny. But as you say, a very rare Toyota Corolla GR. I remember seeing the Corolla GR for the very first time here at the Adelaide Rally, and here are the first of those cars now coming through.
Terrific. Some good sound too. Woo, listen to that.
Through they go.
Porsches. These cars, of course, are limited to 100 kilometres per hour. But they do benefit from the closed road. So all the competitive sections of the rally are entirely closed to the public. So if you've got one of these Butte supercars, it means you can get in it and drive it, use all the road, take your lines through the corners without any threat of someone coming the other way or being considered socially irresponsible. This is really what you bought that car for, to get out in the hills and drive it.
Absolutely right. Here's a McLaren coming down the hill. So these aren't timed cars. They will be out a little bit later. Again, will the timed machines. Got some legends in the Tours as well. Scott Pye, Sandown 500 winner. Scott Pye himself did that with Will Brown last year when it was still an endurance race. And then as well, 4-time Bathurst 1000 winner Greg Murphy as well. Oh, that is a sensational noise that's just passing us, heading down the hill. And there is the Porsche that we could see just weaving left and weaving right. Unlike the competition cars that we saw, Nick, that were separated by 30 seconds, these guys separated by just 4 seconds, and that's why they're so grouped together.
Dan, what car was that made that sound? It was a shriek.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have been a McLaren Artura. The Artura is the V6 twin turbo, 340 lazy kilowatts, and you can pick one up for about $500,000.
I'm just trying to look through to try and see what it could have been.
Was it a V10? It certainly had that shriek.
It did, didn't it? It did. But John Paul Drake, of course, well known in motor racing circles, South Australian veteran racer these days. But last year he was here in a Lexus LFA. Now, if that was here, I'd go it was probably that. However, he is the driver in that Toyota Corolla that you were talking about just before. So it certainly wasn't that Toyota Corolla, I can guarantee it.
Now, we have to confess that Dan and I are the president and secretary of the V10 Appreciation Society.
Yes, correct.
There is no sound that we love more than a Lamborghini V10 or any V10, or the Lexus V10, which, you know, it was a pretty rare car, but the sound of that car was staggering last year. We happened to be on the start line of the Warroa stage with my videographer Dylan, and we got the full noise of that car taking off. As we see another Lamborghini in Kermit Green. I bet that's not what it's called on the brochure, but it's a very UFO style green coming through.
That is the number 52 machine out there on the course. That's driven by Jackie P in a Lamborghini Technica, one of the newest Lamborghinis in the range, made in 2024. So brilliant to have that here this weekend. And that's one of the great things about the Shannon's Adelaide Rally, particularly in the Zagame Tour and tours just like this. There are brand new machines that you may not have ever seen before. These are bedroom wall poster stuff.
I know, and it's become a launching pad, hasn't it?
It has.
For the dealers and the manufacturers to bring out their latest and greatest offering.
Mm-hmm.
I know last year we had a hybrid Ferrari, which you hadn't seen before, and
yep.
you were singing the praises of that one. And the Artura that I mentioned earlier, okay, that's not brand new, but that also is a hybrid. So
was only 2 years ago that I was saying, oh, first time ever, we've got a McLaren Artura. Brand new, never seen one of these before. And that was driven that year by Todd Hazelwood. And here we are a couple of years later going, oh yeah, the Artura, just like it's an everyday car that we see now.
And I think in the Ferrari group today, we once again have a new release Ferrari. Which
not one, but two.
Two, okay.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in the not too distant future. But brilliant to have a Ferrari Tour a part of the program. Speaking of Ferraris, look at this, an old Ferrari Dino.
A 308 GT4, the one that people canned when it came out, but I love them.
Yeah.
It seats 4 people, and a beautiful 3-litre V8, just like a Ferrari should sound.
It's one of those cars that's aged very well, isn't it? It wasn't too
I think it
popular at
has.
the time, but
Yeah.
it's got a bit of a cult following these days.
I think it almost looks better now than when it came out. That, you know, maybe the Ferrari people didn't think it was round enough, or they said it wasn't a proper Ferrari because it was, you know, Dino. So who knows? But today it looks good. They age so well. Look at the shapes of these cars. They don't get old.
And even a little Hyundai in there as well, just to really throw a cat amongst the pigeons. That looks to me to be an i20N, the one of the smaller hot hatches in the Hyundai range. In the car colour that we looked up, we researched and found out that it was called Performance Blue, which is a little bit disappointing.
Bit of an
wasn't it?
anticlimax that was, yeah. But as we see another gorgeous Ferrari.
That is Victor Zagame himself out there in his 2023 Ferrari 812 GTS, and he's got Sophie Zagame alongside of him.
Ah, very good. It's a family affair. What a beautiful car, and an unusual colour for a Ferrari. Not you know, they're not all red, as public opinion would have you believe.
Well, Chris Evans' collection's all white because he wanted to be unique and different. The English radio DJ, who then became a Top Gear host after Clarkson, Hammond and May, and that was quite short-lived. But yeah, he was very, very well known for his incredible Ferrari collection. That's one of my favourites. I am a POM. I am a little bit biased, but the Aston Martin, and we've got an incredible eclectic mix of Aston Martins from the V8 Vantage through to the V12 Vantage. My very, very favourite.
Beautiful shape, Dan. And we've got more Astons coming through later on as well. So for you Aston Martin lovers, there'll be plenty of those for you. Now that was a 2-litre that just went through.
Yeah, that was, I believe that was Dimitrios going through in his Revoluto Lamborghini. I probably butchered that, but I'll work on that overnight and we can come back tomorrow. That Aston Martin that we just saw a few moments ago that was driven by Fred Pascal, that is the Aston Martin DB9 GT. Not only is that one of the best Aston Martins in the range, but that is the Bond edition. And get the colour, Nick. I am a Bond fan myself. It is in Spectre Silver.
Spectre Silver.
How good is that?
There's no doubt about you, Dan. You practice your trivia, don't you, before this? I certainly wouldn't have come out with that. As we see a Subaru coming through, just to become a bit more mainstream, followed by one of the Audis. And I think that might be Mark Chapman.
It looks like he's overtaken a few cars. Where is he? Audi A4. Paul Morris, it says on the entry list. I'm not sure if that is correct. That's an older spec Audi A4. That's not the Paul Morris, for those that are wondering. That's not 2014
the dude.
Bathurst 1000 exactly, not the dude, no.
Oh, look at this front engine V12 Ferrari. Beautiful. There's a bit of history for you.
Yeah, it's not the only old Ferrari in this little section. There's a couple of them. So this is the 365 GTB, would I be correct? It looks like it just from the rego.
It is. It's Stefan Floriani and Anastasios Economos. Beautiful car.
This would be worth nearly as much as some of those brand new ones that we saw not too long ago.
Well, ironically, yes. I did the John Blandon climb to the Eagle a couple of weeks ago, and there was a Ferrari 330 GTC there, which was probably early 60s, that was for sale for $700,000. So it's that's if you can find one. You know, I mean, it's not easy to get people to part with these cars, because quite often they've had them for a long, long time, and they don't owe them that much money because they bought them 40 years ago, 50 years ago, and it's very hard to prize them off their owners. How about that, eh? Watching a historic Ferrari go down through the Stelvio Pass on a hanger, the corkscrew.
It's iconic though, isn't it? This part of the rally. When you talk about the Shannon's Adelaide Rally, this stage is one of those stages.
It is. Corkscrew is the part that you're watching now. As you see this Maserati just approaching us now. So they've come from Cherryville Road, Marble Hill Road. They're turning into the corkscrew, so it's a very tight right, very tight left. The straight up that follows it is very short, so there's no point really getting excited there. But the next part of this stage is all about just getting your rhythm going and just following the corners, linking the corners together without trying to be a hero, because there is Armco all the way along this road, or a cliff bank. So you're going to hit one or the other if you try to do anything too heroic. And now a Mini, just to complete the Eclectic package. Beautiful drone shots there of the curves in this road. Something really, really enjoyable that you look forward to when you're doing this event. You know this one's coming up, and when you write your notes for a stage, which you'll hear us talk about pace notes quite often during the weekend. The pace notes are the notes that the co-driver uses to inform the driver of the next 2 or 3 corners ahead, so that they know exactly what to expect. But they include even more detail than that. They include little brows or crests or undulations in the road if the corner tightens or opens. But when you write your notes for a stage like Corkscrew, which is so tight and technical, and then you go and use them in anger, and it is so satisfying when, as a driver, when you're going through there and you're listening to your co-driver, processing what he's saying, and the whole thing just becomes fluid. It's such a satisfying and rewarding time for you. And that's, I think, one of the drugs that addicts people to rallying, is the fact that there's 2 people in the car, you're working as a team, whatever ups and downs you have, you get to share with your co-driver, and that's what keeps people coming back, because it's a team effort.
Certainly is.
Not only that team, but the service crew that's waiting for you at the end to see if you've broken anything in the stage, as you sometimes do. These guys won't be breaking anything because they're driving their daily drivers or weekend cars. As you can see them going past the pencil pines down there, and about 200 metres of hedge from that lovely residence down there. And I used to look forward to that every year, just whizzing past that hedge at great speed. It's so pretty up here. If you have been to the top of Corkscrew before, or you think you should come to the top of Corkscrew, just turn into Church Road, get out of your car, and you are on top of the world. You can see the most incredible scenery right around you. You could be in Tuscany. It's just a wonderful part of Adelaide, and it's, 15 minutes from the city, Dan?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's quite remarkable, isn't it? You couldn't hold a rally like this anywhere else in the world, so close to the city. And it really is a stone's throw away. Now, Nick, while we've got a break in proceedings, I've just been given some results at the moment. So we just saw them run through. This is stage number 4, and I have the results as of right now. Hayden Paddon has continued to extend his lead margin already after just 3 timed stages. This is stage 4. Stage 1 was just a practice stage, so 3 timed stages. Hayden Paddon leads the rally already by 28 seconds over reigning Shannon's Adelaide winner Alex Rouleau.
And we talked about a second per kilometre is a long time in rallying. You know, you go out for a drive with a mate and you're going through the hills, and you probably, you might be 5-10 seconds behind him. Imagine trying to just grab that second. How do I get that second? Can I brake later? Can I hold on the throttle longer? But not too long, because then you're in the fence. So 28 seconds out of about the same number of kilometres.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is our next tour. We'll come back to the rest of the times a little bit later on, but those two have stretched quite a margin on the rest of the field, which remains very, very tight. This now is the BMW Mini Tour. As the name would suggest, Nick, full of BMWs and full of Minis, but a huge eclectic mix from the M-Class cars through to the I's, the 325, the 318, etc. So a great mix of BMWs and Minis in this. What I love about this year is we've got cars from the M2 all the way through, M2, 3, 4, 5, and even, I believe, an M6 in there as well. Oh, damn, as the registration number says on that.
This tour being led, of course, by Craig Williams and Karine Heimzone. Both seasoned rally competitors themselves. Karine Heimzone has been a classic rally class co-driver champion and has contested many of these events. She's actually a sought-after co-driver.
Yeah, right.
A lot of guys, they can get Karine to sit alongside them. They know that they're going to get really good notes delivery. As we see some more of these BMWs coming through, black being the order of the day.
So these are all the M's that I was just talking about. M4 that we can see, M6, M3, M5, and we've got variants of them as well. A couple of M5 competitions, an M3 touring, a couple of standard M2s as well. And even there, as we just saw, not only the sedan model, but also the estate model.
The touring. And BMW drivers love their cars. They're a very spirited car to drive. BMW chased that market of performance sedans and coupes, and even my son racing one in Sydney these days has forsaken the rotary for a BMW, and boy is he happy. He spends about 1/10 of the time working on it, and the chassis of the car is just so good that they can fine-tune it to get excellent results, even against stiffer opposition.
This has been on the Shannon's Adelaide Rally bill for many years, hasn't it, the BMW Mini Tour, but it has always been one of the biggest. So many people in Adelaide own BMWs that want to take to these glorious roads. I mean, that just highlights the Adelaide roads, doesn't it?
Have a look at that. I mean, you could go to the other side of the world to find a road like that, and you'd come home and tell your mates about it, but we have it on our doorstep. This is a beautiful stretch of road, and we're just so fortunate that the countryside around it is so pretty at this time of year. We're just going through towards the end of spring, and the hills are looking at their best. All the greenery, the different colours of the various bushes and flowers, and it's just so special. It's great to see people come from interstate to do this, and even better when we see people from the other side of the world come over to do it, because they are a go at what they see. Like, we talked to the young guys from Indonesia yesterday. They said, "We love your city."
They did.
They were really taken by Adelaide as a city.
Did you see that, Nick, on the side? Bit of a JPS tribute livery, that one.
Yep,
yes.
Yeah. Well, you couldn't put Benson and Hedges on it, so you had to go for something else.
But how cool that,
nice.
Of course, Jim Richards won a couple of titles, didn't he, in the Australian Touring Car Championship in a BMW with the JPS livery.
Yes.
On the side. And yeah, okay, it's a bit more of a modern BMW than the M3 that he won the 1987 Touring Car Championship in, but nevertheless, I love a good tribute livery.
And we do have in the challenge class, Dan, a BMW M3, the same ilk as what Jim Richards used to win that championship. So that's a great car to have a look at, with the full pumped guards. Really interesting bit of history to know, what we were racing at that time. Of course, those cars of Jim Richards in the black and gold livery were stunning looking race cars. They were brilliant. And then, of course, the 635 CSI that he ran later. We have one of those out here today as well. So there's a lot to offer for all brands. Got
Chris Greening and Dan McHolm in their 1971 BMW 3 CS Coupe that you might have seen before all the minis start to come down the hill. And just as I say, all the minis, we've got a couple of BMWs again right at the end of the tour, but there's a good few minis there for a little while. So we've pretty much concluded the BMW Mini Tour, and finishing them off with a bit of a eclectic mixture of different machines, from the Broadspeed GTS to the G87 M2, and even a Z4 that you may have seen there as well. Look at that, dropping the top on your Mini. How good is that?
Next up, the Solitaire Tour, Dan. So you'll see Aston Martins, Jags, Audis, Alphas, all Solitaire brands. They also do Maserati. But David Smoker, the managing director of Solitaire, he'll be out there, and Aston Martin, and David's been an Aston Martin tragic since time began. Ever since I first met him 30 years ago, he's been had his head in British magazines looking at what Aston Martins were. So here's something that we put together about Solitaire earlier.
Tour returned to the Shannon's Adelaide Rally in 2024, and this group contains a large amount of supercars, but also sports cars. 6 manufacturers are within the tour, including Audis, Aston Martins, Alfa Romeos, Cupras, Jaguars, and even Land Rovers.
Yeah, they will be coming out in just a few moments. The Solitaire Tour, great to have them apart back in the Shannon's Adelaide Rally, as we say. Great to have them back a part of it, as we see the final couple of BMWs, I think, taking down the stage. Are we already onto the Solitaire Tour? If we are, that is a very quick turnaround through the very tight hairpin. Which one's the tightest, do you think, Nick? Is it that one or this one? They're all different shapes, as you can see. One's quite sharp and pointy. That one sort of tightens and then opens up as you go. And then the next one is a really long hairpin. So all 4 hairpins back to back, very unique in their own way.
Don't you love rallying?
Yeah.
No 2 corners the same?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's terrific. And like I said earlier, you know, sometimes there's not a lot to be gained by using the handbrake, as a lot of drivers will. But, you know, you can get right out to the edge of the road, position your car so that you can clip the apex and get through there just by steering. And, of course, it depends a lot on what you're driving too. You know, if it's a great big thing, you might want to use the throttle to just turn it around, or the handbrake to turn it around. But just getting back to Solitaire, long-time supporters of the event, have been part of it for many years, and of course the brand that I'd left out when I was talking about them was Volkswagen.
Oh yes,
Volkswagen, their biggest selling brand. And you can find Solitaire on Belair Road at Hawthorn, or at Medindi on Main North Road, or on Glen Osmond Road.
Oh yes, there is one. Yeah, there is one on Glen Osmond Road. Yes, just down right near the bottom of the freeway. So if you get to the bottom of the freeway, the southeastern freeway, just keep heading down Glen Osmond Road directly straight ahead, and it'll be on your right hand side.
That's right.
So yes, I pass that one quite often on the way to the city, as you would. We use Glen Osmond Road as our direct route into the city, as many southeastern Adelaide residents do. But yeah, we'll move on to the Solitaire Tour in just a few moments' time. One of the biggest ranging tours that we have as part of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. Of course, we've spoken about a few of our sponsors. We've spoken about Shannon's, of course. We've spoken about the South Australian government. But there's a lot of little sponsors as well, such as Calder Wealth Management, Colour on Demand. Let's not forget Colour on Demand, Nick. They print out every single sticker on every one of these cars. I bet their printers were overheating with the amount that they had to print out of this event.
490 cars, and there's about 25 stickers on each one.
Yeah.
No, it's they do a great job, and we're just so fortunate to have people who have partnered the event for so long. They tend to stay on board, don't they? I mean, the event is very important to the state. In 2023, the economic footprint of the Adelaide Rally was to the tune of $7 million. And even the Goodger Street Party, which will be on Saturday night this year. And if you haven't been to one, got to go, see all the cars, talk to all the drivers. That was worth nearly $1 million, $800,000 benefit to the Goodger Street traders. So that kind of stuff is really welcome. And Dan, last year we were at Strathalbyn. That also benefited the town of Strathalbyn, $200,000. And the Alexandria Council couldn't wait to ask us back.
That's right.
I mean, we did have the duck race the first year, which is a sight to behold. But no duck race this year, but we will have 490 rally cars going through twice this year.
Not only that, but we do have Horsepower Crew there. They'll have a lot of cars that'll be judged by Scott Pye, who, as I say, is here this weekend. So he'll be judging, along with Horsepower Crew, the best presented cars. So not cars that are in the rally. These are other cars that have been selected for effectively what is a show and shine competition.
Yeah, and another way of showcasing the town of Strathalbyn, which is one of the prettiest towns in South Australia. If you haven't been down there, you've got to go and have a look. Plenty of cafes and pubs to have a coffee or a meal and a beer. All the cars that are on show, the Horsepower Crew cars, will be in a separate event on the lawns of the Angus River, on the banks of the Angus River. And we'll be doing some interviews with some of those punters and obviously watching the handing out of the prizes for the event and the judges. It's a great benefit to Strathalbyn, and it highlights the beautiful towns that we've got in South Australia. So many people come from interstate to have a look at the rally, or to crew for a car or whatever, or even come from Indonesia, you know, with a really strong posse of their mates and crews and friends. So it does bring a lot of people to the state. One of the things that we haven't mentioned, Dan, which has been really remiss of us, is the number of volunteer officials that we have on this event. It's just staggering that these people, again, come back year after year because they love doing it. There's over 400 volunteer officials. That's about 35, 36 more than last year. That was even more than the year before. So our number of officials has grown by nearly 100 in 2 years.
Yeah, correct.
So that means a better event. It means a better experience for the drivers and the co-drivers, a better experience for townspeople in terms of traffic management and so on. And we're just so grateful to them. I know as a former driver, you're so grateful to those people for coming out, and the residents of the Adelaide Hills, because it's a privilege to use their roads. And we don't take it lightly. We are very, very grateful for it.
I was going to say, just before we talk about the Solitaire Tour, as the first Aston Martin comes through, you mentioned the volunteers here. 411 is the official number. However, they have said, or I was told by Lisa Totani, who's been managing all of the volunteers, what a job she's had. I tell you what, that is not an easy job to manage 411 people, but that's what she's been doing. She said to me that although we have enough, we would not be opposed to having a few more people over the weekend. So if you want to still be a volunteer over the course of this weekend, head on to the Adelaide Rally website and sign up, because they are potentially going to take a couple more volunteers over the course of the weekend. So it's not too late. And even a couple of people doing the Prima Tour, which is a Friday only tour, they're driving in the rally today, and then they're going to be a volunteer over the rest of the weekend, such as Duncan Liang doing Prima Tour today, and he'll be volunteering around the Adelaide Rally tomorrow.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Giving back, enjoying it one day and then giving it back the next. That's really, really good stuff. I know when we do the coverage of the Warroa stage from Aldgate to Stirling on tomorrow afternoon, there's just so many volunteers around, you know, handling the running of the stage, lining the cars up, making sure that the spectators don't get in the wrong spot to threaten their safety. There's so much involved, and they do a wonderful job, wonderful job. And look, it's a bit thankless at times, but as drivers and co-drivers, we're always very quick to thank them for what they do.
what I love, one of the things about the Solitaire Tour, is how they've been organised. We go from one brand to the other, so we've already seen all the Vantages and the DBSs of the Aston Martin range. We then move on to the Alfa Romeos. They are all grouped together. Then we'll have Jaguar and Audi as well, with a couple of Land Rovers there in the middle, which is very well organised. It really does certainly make our life easier as well here in commentary. That there is Antonio Precipio, and that's an Italian sounding name and an Italian sounding car, isn't it? He's driving an Alfa Romeo Giulia, and that's only 1 year old, that car, as we look at something very, very, very different indeed there. That is the number 226 machine. That is a BMC Broadspeed GTS.
A Broadspeed Mini. Yeah, there's a blast from the past.
And there's a Land Rover as well. We go from one of the smallest cars in the rally to one of the biggest. That's quite a funny shot, heading down into the first of the hairpins in just a couple of moments' time. But there it is, sort of the point I was making. You can see the different shapes of the 4 hairpins. And this is just a small part of one of the largest stages in the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. Cherryville Plus, Nick. So it can be run as the shorter version, but also the Plus, the long version.
Actually, it's been run in a number of iterations. Where we are sitting is the intersection of Marble Hill Road or Montacute Road. Montacute if you're coming up from the city, and Marble Hill Road if you're coming through the hills. So where that road intersects the corkscrew is where we're sitting. Now, you can run a stage up the corkscrew and turn right and go to Montacute, or you can turn left and go to Marble Hill, or you can run down the corkscrew. You can run down the corkscrew and use the rest of Gorge Road as we're doing today. It's had so many different iterations over the years, but the drivers love every bit of it. I mean, it's all good. You either like the really tight and twisty bit because you're in a little nimble car, or you love the fast flowing bit on Gorge Road because you've got something that can really stretch its legs and enjoy the perfect tarmac as you go through there.
For those watching on the live stream who are in and around Adelaide and think, oh, I'd like to get to a stage today, there is a perfect one, a spectator stage, the Stafford Hill Climb. That takes place at 1:40 this afternoon, Nick, so plenty of time to grab a quick bite to eat and head on over there ahead of that stage. Talk us through the Stafford Hill Climb.
It's a good stage to watch, Dan. There's a spectator point there that is made for it. So, and the other thing is, it's really easy to get to. So if you find your way to Lenswood from the city, you'll drive probably on the Lobethal Road. But use your GPS to get there, because your GPS will tell you if any of the roads are closed for the rally. So make sure you enter from the right direction. Go to Lenswood, turn left at Lenswood into Cold Store Road, and you only have to drive about 2 kilometres before you get to a road closure, and that's the spectator point. So you walk up onto the high ground, and you can then watch the cars coming up the hill and turning 90 degrees left and going up a hill, and then turning a big right-hander before they finish the stage. So you do actually see a few little hijinks there at times, a few indiscretions, but for the most part you'll see some very well driven cars, and you do get to watch the cars for probably 20-25 seconds while they go through. So really good spot. The Stafford Hill Climb, again, it's a road that's been used in various iterations over the years, but Stafford Hill Climb today is uphill and a 90-degree right. Really good spot to watch, and you hear the cars under full acceleration, which is one of the things that I always like to see at a spectator point. But also super easy to get to. So if you don't want to drive down windy roads in the hills because you're taking Nana with you or something like that, that's a real easy one.
Somebody who has not driven on that stage is Rifat Sungkar, one of our Indonesian visitors. I had a chat with him yesterday, and he spoke about the iconic Adelaide Rally event. Rifat Sungkar is one of our Indonesian visitors to the event this year. For you, looking forward to the event. First time here at the Adelaide Rally.
Yes, it's first time in Adelaide Rally, but not the first time to Adelaide, because I was in Adelaide Motorsports Festival a few months ago, and it was amazing. And I met Tim, and he said, "Would you interested to join the Adelaide Rally?" I said, "Give me one reason to say no." So I'm here.
What do you think? You've done the recce. What do you think of some of these stages?
I think, you know what, not only the stages is very friendly, it looks really nice, the tarmac condition is so good, and the layout itself is also, interesting. But the system of the rally also make us having more fun to do it, because there is no more time rush. And I came here with the 3 cars, the Indonesian team, and it seems everything is the first time for us. But I know Australia has always held a very good motorsport event, so I believe this will be a very, very nice memory for us.
What do you think of the competition, the likes of Alistair McRae, a couple of Australian rally drivers as well, such as Hayden Paddon? How do you think you're going to go against those guys?
I don't think we will beat the locals, because I'm here with the biggest car in the field. But the aim of having us in Australia is I would like to open the relationship again between Indonesian drivers and also the international events. And for sure, I just want to enjoy the rally. And for my other team member, I believe they are the younger generation. They have to know that Australia is a perfect country to build their reputation and their career. And at the end, I'm going to, assist them to go to the finish line.
For some people, they probably wouldn't have seen a vehicle like this before. So
I know.
Talk us through the vehicle.
Yeah, this car is one of the most popular car in Indonesia. I'm ambassador of Mitsubishi Indonesia, and I have a bit crazy idea to develop the 7-seater car to be a race car. As you know that maybe a few years ago, rallying is not in a good situation, so I would like to have more public attention. I have a choice to buy the Rally 2 cars, but no, I think we have to do something different. So that's why this Mitsubishi Xpander, we develop it as a rally car. Of course, it's not really perfect in size, but it's really perfect to caught your eyes. So with that situation, it's bring up my spirit to fight. And 3 years ago, we are the Indonesian champion with this one. So yeah, it's an interesting car.
Absolutely it is. Thanks so much for coming, and best of luck this weekend.
Thank you so much, Dan, and thank you so much, everybody.
Really nice guy. All of the Indonesian contingency is great to have them a part of the event this year. He's a very clever man. He works for the FIA over in Asia. He's a very clever man. Big rally heart, and certainly, as he says, he wants to grow rallying and really get the connection going between Asia and Australia in rallying. It's a fascinating conversation, that one, and we had to talk about a few other things outside when the cameras were turned off, and he's got some really big ideas for rallying going forwards.
He has. He's got a marketing head, Dan, hasn't he? He really wants to grow the sport in Indonesia, and because of his FIA position, he was able to put new ideas to them as to how to do that. And off camera, we talked with Rifat for about half an hour after that, because it was intriguing to listen to his approach to rallying, not only for Indonesia, but for the world, how he sees its future. And as you say, a really affable guy. And so were the entire group of Indonesian people. They're just so good at making themselves available, even though in one of my interviews their English wasn't their strongest suit. But that's okay. They still loved it, and they embraced it as all part of the adventure. 2 of the guys who we interviewed yesterday, Dan Moreno and Rif Akbar, they were 20 and 21 years old, and they're having the adventure of a lifetime coming to Australia. And they were the guys who said to us, "We love your city." Of all the things that they wanted to talk about, they thought that the city was just beautiful. So what a wonderful bit of advertising for South Australia in particular. Our roads, our food, our wine, our hospitality. And they're going to go home and say, "Oh, the people are really friendly too, and really good place to go and do a rally."
Well, hopefully that's what they say. That we're friendly. We can certainly say it's a great place to do a rally. Of that, there is absolutely no doubt. Not only us saying it here in the commentary box, not only are Indonesian visitors saying that, but also you look over the years, legendary names have done this event. Sir Sterling Moss competed in the older iteration of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. But yeah, big names as well. Murray Walker,
Sir Sterling Moss. I think you told me, Dan, that Murray Walker was Sterling Moss's co-driver.
Yes, correct.
That would have been a one-sided conversation. But we also had Doug Nye and Sir Paul Vesti were regulars at the Classic Adelaide Rally. Now, Doug Nye was an absolute world-renowned authority on sports cars. And he was a consultant for people like Bonhams, Auctions, had written prolifically, I think it was like 30 books that he'd written about sports cars. He was a noted authority. Stuart O'Grady, who won the Tour Down Under, he did the event in an AC Cobra tribute, which is a good thing to choose. Wyn Percy also used the Cobra at one stage, and I think Jack Brabham also had a go in it. But yeah, lots of very, very notable people who did the event over the years, and it's changed a bit. It's morphed into a different sort of an event now, with a higher tour contingency, but nonetheless it's evolving and it's growing. And I think one of the effects of having such a strong competitive group this year, with your Rally Pro category and then the competition category comprising 25 cars in all, that's going to bring more competitive crews back to the event. And that's, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 50% increase in that in the next 12 months.
Well, Rifat said off camera to me, he says, already, just when I've sent photos to some of my Indonesian friends that also compete over there in Indonesia, they've said, we regret not coming now. So already there's more interest. One of the Mercedes, they're running really wide towards the bank. But was able to keep it off there. But already it sounds like there's some more Indonesian interest for the 2026 Shannon's Adelaide Rally, which is really, really cool. Now, we were just talking there about the bank. That's one of the great things about the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. We've got a stat, haven't we? 81% of the event either has banking or Armco. So it's in that safe, it's a very safe event.
Look, rallying by nature has a danger aspect to it. If you're driving a car at speed on a road, not a racing circuit, a road, it has its own inherent perils. And Tim and his team go to so much effort. Alka, I'm trying to think of his first, Jake Alka, who delivers the rally. They go to so much pain to make it as safe as possible for drivers and co-drivers. And that includes, if you have a stage, you think this would be a good stage, it's got some really twisty bits, then it's got a long straight at the end where you can do about 300 miles an hour. They'll take that bit out. We don't need it. Colin McRae once said that straights were for fast cars and corners were for fast drivers. and he's so right. And you ask any of those guys and they'll back him up. It's the nice twisty bits of road that they love. As Alistair said, very technical. Even the short ones are very technical. And so your notes have to be spot on, and that's where you're going to pick up time. And look at Hayden Paddon. Wow. So there's a guy who's used notes at the highest level for some years with John Kennard, and he's proving the value of the notes this morning.
Certainly is. We're on to the Mercedes Tour. In fact, quite a way into the Mercedes Tour already. We've got a eclectic mix, 25 machines from Mercedes, whether that's their sedans, whether that be their hatchbacks or even their SUVs. We've got them all covered out there on this stage for you. And in total, as I say, 25 a part of the tour this year. Here's some of their supercars, the AMG GT going through there, through the chicane and down into the twisty stuff, the technical section of this course, and ranging in years as well. The oldest one in the tour is from 2014 through to 2025. Todd Hughes has a brand new 2025 Mercedes AMG GT GT63, and actually this could be it. 116. No, this is an older C63. This is from 2015 of Justin Ragnovich.
Well, it's bound to be a bit of a C63 fest, isn't it? Because
Yes.
they're such a performance car. They're loved by Mercedes people, whether it be as a coupe or a sedan. But Mercedes, very interesting the way they set up their engine choices. You can buy a Mercedes C300. It's a few years old, C300 as a coupe or a sedan. It's a 4-cylinder turbo, and it'll make about 180, 190 kilowatts. Or you could choose one of their hot hatches with the AMG badge on it, the CAs. 4-cylinder turbo, 2 litre, same size, but with 100 more kilowatts. Why? Because it's a completely different engine. It's full of little incrementals that make the extra 100 kilowatts. And that's where they're such an individual company, the way they put those engine choices together. You can have the car that you drive to the shops, or you can have something that is absolutely outrageous.
Here they are, just going through the really tricky corner, this one. I think this one's one of the trickiest on this section. The left-hander, quite deceivingly tight. It doesn't look that tight as you turn into the corner, but it really does tighten throughout.
Yeah, and some of these corners you can't see what it's going to do. So these guys don't have the luxury of notes. They're not allowed to use notes. They get a road book, and the road book will tell them about all the intersections, all the places where you could get lost if you don't turn the right way. But they're not going to tell them about every corner and every hump in the road and all that sort of thing.
Look at that on the side, Lightning McQueen. That's what the red stripe is, number 95. A bit of a, it's quite remarkable. There's a Hyundai XL going around Australia at the moment, competing at a very high level, and also in 86s as well. And it's fully kitted out exactly like Lightning McQueen. That's the era. These kids that grew up watching the
tells
Disney
you their age,
film.
doesn't it?
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah. That you know, at a certain age, people would make their car look like Herbie. Now they try and make
Yep.
it look like Lightning McQueen.
Lightning McQueen, yeah. No, it's a real insight into, oh, okay, so you were born in what year?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Even I wouldn't do that. I'm too old to have cars on mine. We're now moving on to the first of the Porsche Tours. This is the Porsche Centre Adelaide Tour, a new tour that joined us last year, and a great addition, and it's grown in numbers this year. We've now got 17 a part of this tour, and this will be directly followed by the other Porsche Tour, the Porsche Club Tour, with 33 Porsches. So a total across the two Porsche classes of 50. So if you like your flat sixes, not all of them are flat sixes, but the large bulk are, this is the class for you.
Who doesn't love a Porsche? Whether it's a 911 or a Boxster or a GT3, they're all fabulous cars. And you never tire of them.
A lot of them with the roof down.
Oh, yeah. Lovely cars. And with a distinctive note, distinctive styling. Somehow they've managed to retain that 911 shape right through their lineage, even though they're modernised every year, and probably none of the panels are the same, but they still look unmistakably 911.
That soft top that we saw, that was the number 950, a pretty new 718 Spider RS, driven by Kenneth Lau and co-driver Brad Maslin alongside. That was the lovely grey soft top that we saw, or drop top I should say, with no roof this morning. The sun has come out now. I said it was pretty cloudy when the competition class cars came through. There's almost not even a cloud in sight anymore, particularly over to my left out of the commentary box. So incredible how quickly the clouds have gone, and now we will see the temperatures roar as we head towards the very hot temperature of 25 degrees here today in the Adelaide Hills, and it's only going to get progressively hotter as the weekend goes on as well, Nick.
Slim chance of rain Saturday afternoon in Stirling. Let's hope that the breeze that we've got today just blows that away, and we don't have to worry about it, because the guys would be loving these roads. You know, it's I mean, if you're in a competitive category. Sure, rain adds another aspect to it, and that's all part of your driving skill. But I know that these guys have been very, very happy that they're not driving on a shiny surface or a downpour, which just stresses you just a little bit more.
We've seen in the last few minutes some of the very best that Germany has to offer. We've seen BMWs and Minis. We've seen a lot of Audis in the Solitaire Tour. We've seen Mercedes. We've now got Porsche. But up after the Porsches, we have, for the very first time, the Ferrari Club Tour. How cool is that to have Ferrari a part of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally?
Beautiful.
That's a
What's
great
not
addition.
to like about a group of Ferraris?
As Sebastian Vettel says, even if you don't admit you love Ferrari, everybody loves Ferrari. And he is right.
He's right. Of course he's right.
The four-time champion knows best. Sebastian Vettel, four-time Formula One world champion, 2010 through to 2013, all of his titles coming with Red Bull Racing. Of course, he moved over to Ferrari and finished as the runner-up on a couple of occasions, but never quite was able to take the title. Vic Moore leading the way in the Porsche Club Tour in his 996, the iconic car that he's owned for many, many years.
That's right. Vic Moore, a mate of ours,
Yep.
been involved in the rally for many years. I competed against him for some years, and we had a great time, always stirring each other up. And he knew I couldn't beat him, so it was all right.
That's why he's still mates. He does take things quite seriously, doesn't he? He's taken a step back these days, just taking part in the tour, but a fierce competitor for many, many years. And yeah, he certainly doesn't go about it lightly. He's out there to win. He's out there to take victories.
And look, there's a few names out there who've been involved in motorsport in South Australia in many different categories over the years. Anthony Sullivan, who some people would know him as much for his interest in watercraft as his interest in cars. Roger Patterson, who's been a regular in this event over the years. Ross Armand, who has been heavily involved in state championship rallying over the years, and also sponsored events through his Copy World organisation. Jeff Ollie is out there. Dale Ashby and James Ashby, more often associated with Alfa Romeos, that they historic Alfas that they both race. And in fact, Peter Axford is also out there in a silver Porsche Boxster. His business is Eurosport Automotive, so he's an Alfa Romeo man as well. So those guys are more used to travelling together to race their Alfa Romeos, but as their dailies, they love their Porsches. So a good mix of motorsport people out there in the Porsche Club company.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to see so many of them here this year. A huge variety, not only modern stuff, but also so we've got some Porsches in the Porsche Club Tour dating back to the early 60s. We've got one of our oldest cars, again back this year, driven by Thomas Klavenek, the 1964 Porsche 356 SC in the ruby red colour, and that will be the last car or the penultimate car, I should say, in the Porsche Club Tour. So that'll be coming through in a few moments' time. So we've got Porsches from a 6-decade period.
Yeah.
And people say that Porsches all look the same. You know, people that aren't car people say all Porsches look the same. Well, this proves very much this is not the case.
Well, I was saying earlier that Porsches, like everything else, have evolved over time. But somehow they still retain that 911 shape.
That's right. They're different looking, but they all look like Porsches, don't they?
They do.
Non-car people can look at one of these cars and go, that's a Porsche.
That's a Porsche.
And that is brilliant marketing.
It's unmistakable shape, that 911 look. And, you know, even when you look at a Boxster, which is a different derivative, it's a mid-engine car, there's still the curvy shape of the 911 there in the heritage. Look at these cars. Great.
Love the Martini. That's good.
Yeah.
But a 944 in there as well. That's probably one that certainly breaks the mould, doesn't it, of a traditional Porsche, the 944.
Yeah, well, the 944 and the 928 and the 924, all sort of birthed during that 80s period. when Porsche decided that we have to build front-engine cars, but even though they reverted to their and the 968 was another one, even though they reverted to their 911 sort of core strength, all of those cars were successful. 944s were a brilliant handling car. The 968, which was probably the least loved of any of them and the least iconic, if you've ever driven one, is the most balanced car that you could drive quickly. There's Dr. Tom in the 356.
Doctor?
Dr. Tom Klaviniak, yep. And that car has done a lot of these events.
It has.
I couldn't count the number of Adelaide rallies it's done.
Only a little engine, 1.6 litre engine.
Yep.
But to be fair, back then that was a normal-sized engine, wasn't it? They had a lot bigger variants in engines in the Porsche range at that time.
And the cars were so light, Dan.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Like 700, 800 kilograms was not unusual for a four-cylinder car. Now you'll struggle to find a four-cylinder car that's under 1200 with all its airbags and safety features.
Here it is for the very first time in the Shannon's Adelaide Rally. We have the Ferrari Club Tour. Absolutely incredible, and it's being led by not so much a supercar, more of a four-wheel drive. I think that's an FF, or certainly a iteration that came soon after. As the GTC4 Lusso, of course. Yes, of course, driven by Greg Stevens. So yeah, it does look a bit like the FF that was built as the first four-wheel drive machine in the Ferrari range. And further back down we have this on the screens. This is David Fryer in his Ferrari. And look, all different colours as well, black, yellow, but some of the ones that I want to see are those brand new machines. In fact, I think we saw them in some earlier classes. The newest one in the Ferrari Club Tour is that David Fryer, the Ferrari 296. I haven't quite seen the 296 yet. That's the 787, the Ferrari California. Hard to believe that that's a decade and a half old now, the Ferrari California. That was certainly a car that I grew up with. Same with the Ferrari F430 that we just saw on the screen there. There it is, the Ferrari F430, and that's followed by Dave Medellin in the Ferrari 308 GTS-I. But yeah, certainly my era was the Ferrari F430 and the Ferrari 458.
Right, so for me it was the 308s and the 328s, and of course the I on the GTS-I stands for the movement to fuel injection.
That neatly moves us on to the Hyundai Tour with the I products.
With everything with an I on it.
That's exactly right. I30, I20, Ioniq N, whatever you want, it will be in the Hyundai Tour. So again, great to have the Hyundai Tour back, only been with us a couple of years, and great to see it's grown again in 2025, and that's being led by Paul Page, who is really one of the key contributors to that class. Of course, the Pages owned the Hyundai stores here in Adelaide.
So these cars, if you haven't driven an i30N, really spirited car to drive, very enjoyable car to drive, and pretty user friendly, I've got to say. Very composed car to drive.
That's the number 260. 250 of Luke Mader, who actually races in the South Australian Formula V Championship. So great to have him part of the rally for the very first time. And this is a car that I'm used to seeing in the South Australian Motor Racing Championship, a Hyundai XL, being driven by Cameron Quinn, who's a regular in the XL series here in South Australia. So a couple of racing drivers taking to the streets of Adelaide for the Shannon's Adelaide Rally this year. That's cool.
And if you've never seen a Hyundai XL race, it's like 30 cars forced into about 10 square meters space.
Yep.
just inseparable from each other. It is very, very close racing, and of course a great nursery formula for a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Started out as budget motorsport. I'm not sure whether that actually worked, because they do put a lot of time and effort and money into them now. As we see a tribute, Toyota Celica, with some Bathurst nostalgia about it coming through.
Oh yeah, Sean Basford driving that one, where Julie alongside of him. So 1980 Celica, very old school, as you say, a good tribute livery on it as well. Before we move on to the Honda Tour, which was new last year, and last year was mainly made up of Honda Civic Type Rs, but as you can see already, we've got S2000s, we've got Honda Integras and old school Honda Civics as well. So there's a real eclectic mix, and some Honda NSXs as well. Well, that's quite hard to say, Nick.
S2000s, the Honda NSX, and we should be able to hear some nice VTEC noises. VTEC being, of course, Honda's interpretation of variable valve timing and cam timing.
There is a modern, the white one, a modern Honda Civic Type R. What a great cult classic car I think that's going to become. It's already popular, and I think it's only going to get more popular as the years go on, because it's old school.
And they're old. Are you talking about the current Civic or the old Civic that's in?
I was talking about the current Civic. What I meant by old school was the way it drives. You know, it's just a performance hatch.
Yep. And their owners are just so brand loyal. They love these cars. I was at my local cafe one Sunday morning. There was about 10 of these new Civics rolled up, and they all had the special bits on them and the big wheels and all the Japanese aftermarket gear that you could add to it. But they are a very effective car. Motoring journalists love them. They just love the way they drive.
Up next we have the main tour, Nick. It's a bit of a different one, this one. No competition again, but no manufacturer branding associated with this. This is like you and me. We bring along our cars that we absolutely love, and we hit the Adelaide road. So there's going to be cars from all generations, all different speeds, all different shapes, all different sizes. And the first few cars are highlighting that straight away. We've got a Nissan Skyline from the 90s. We've got a modern Audi, a sort of early noughties, I think that was, Mercedes, and then a little hot hatch behind that. So already in the first 4 cars, a huge mixture.
There's some crazy cars in this, Dan. There's a Dodge Challenger Hellcat, which is a supercharged 6.2 litre V8, over 500 kilowatts. There's a Morgan Aero 8, which is like nothing that you've seen before. And there's a very special Peugeot RCZ in it as well. So there's a whole lot of different brands in here. 57 cars in this tour.
And as well, there is going to be a Repco ute going down the hill, driven by none other than 4-time Bathurst 1000 winner and a Lap of the Gods driver, Greg Murphy.
Well, it'll be a Lap of the Gods going down here, because that would not be my weapon of choice for corkscrew, I can tell you.
No. It's a question of whether he's got enough steering lock for some of the hairpins. I think you might have to give it a bootful to slide the rear around to get it round.
Some 3-point turns coming up for Greg Murphy.
I saw Greg Murphy at the Goodwood Festival of Speed earlier on in the year, and I tell you what, he might have retired from driving competitively these days, but I tell you what, he is still as fast as ever.
Well, Dan, just alluding to your world tour that you did earlier this year, where you took in every form of motor racing possible. You went to Goodwood. How did that draw a parallel for you with the Adelaide Motorsport Festival?
In many ways, from the variety of machines that were there, through to the fact that there is a little bit of a competitive nature that builds as the weekend goes on. But it certainly is, the Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival is Australia's version, not only Australia's version, but the Southern Hemisphere's version of the Goodwood Festival of Speed. And already, Nick, you may have seen the announcements in the last couple of weeks that 2-time Formula 1 world champion Mika Hakkinen and his McLaren teammate David Coulthard will both be attending the 2026 Repco Adelaide Motorsport Festival. That's big news. Wonderful.
And of course, Mika Hakkinen having mixed memories of his visit to Adelaide.
Yes.
he made friends with quite a few doctors in Adelaide and surgeons, and he's very, very grateful to them, I'm sure.
Yeah, that was the very last Australian Grand Prix 30 years ago, 1995. Oh, we've got a Mitsubishi that's misjudged there. I think he attempted to go straight on, but no, there is a corner there. That is the 315 machine. That is Lee Davey. I'm afraid, Lee, we caught your little fumble on camera. So Lee Davey in his Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10, making a little bit of a blunder there, Nick, but no damage done.
No. In fact, a bit unlucky that the camera caught him, really.
There's 19 kilometres on this stage. You just happened to do it there.
He'll never live it down. Now, all his mates have seen it, and he'll probably cop a bid for that.
Oh, dear. Belinda D'Ambrosio alongside of him. But yes, that's a bit of a shame there that was caught on camera, but good amusement for all his mates, as you say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so many cars in the main tour this year, and as we've seen, some of the variety already. But Mitsubishi, of course, Evos, have got a few in the competition and challenge class cars. Mitsubishi, Subaru, they were the dominant rally car, weren't they, in the late 90s and the early noughties?
It was a very good period for rallying. The first time I went to Rally Australia in Perth was, I think, 1991, and rallying was very healthy.
Yes.
Then,
yes.
And some of those names prevailed too. You know, like Carlos Sainz and Marco Allen. You know, they went on to become icons of rallying. I don't think it was that year. It was some years later when I saw Carlos Sainz roll the car 3 times in 2 days.
Oh, you saw that, did you?
Yes.
Yes. Very, very famous.
You can't get much more entertainment than that. As we watch this Honda, another one of the Civics coming down through there.
And then a bit beyond that, I think that's the Subaru, or is it an 86? Of course, it's impossible to tell until you see the logo.
Yeah.
But a old school Porsche as well, just behind that. I believe that's an 85. Is that a 930 turbo?
No, it's just a 911.
There is a 930 in the main tour.
Right.
On next, we have the Spirit Tour. So that is for people that sort of want to get into rallying competitively. So although it's not timed, they have to wear helmets and a few safety measures, and they're allowed to go a little bit faster than these guys. That's a great tribute livery to the
Glenn Seaton, isn't it?
Exactly right, exactly right. To the Tickford team back in the early noughties. So yes, that was Glenn Seaton and Neil Crompton at the team back then. Very good memory, Nick.
Well, I was there. I'm still that's the little Peugeot that's just gone through. Now this is a Peugeot RCZ, which, as you're familiar with those cars, they use the double bubble roof that was an offshoot of Zagato, the Italian coach builder, were the first people to introduce that, and it was used on various Italian cars over time. And I just love the styling of these Peugeot RCZs. This one is an RCZ-R. There was only 3,000 of them built, so it's a 270 horsepower car. That's nearly 166 horsepower per litre from a 1600 turbo. So that's a good, quick little car. It was, at the time, the most powerful 1600cc car you could buy. So not only is it stylish, but it's also a quick car. And just coming into view then, we saw the Dodge Hellcat. There it is, the Challenger Hellcat. Now that's the epitome of an American muscle car, 6.2 litre V8 with a blower and 535 kilowatts. 275 kilowatt per tonne.
What would that be in my language? That would be 600 horsepower there or thereabouts?
535 would be 700 horsepower.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yep.
Oh, that's insane.
It
Absolutely insane. I did see Morgan, I think, just go through as well. So the thing is, Nick, people might say, you know, How did you not know what that was? Well, when there's 489 cars to try and learn in the last few weeks, there's simply not enough hours in a day to learn who's driving every single car in this Shannon's Adelaide Rally. Here he is.
There's your
Greg
mate.
Murphy. I can tell you who's driving this one. So Greg Murphy attacking the hills of Adelaide. And of course, the Kiwi legend heading down the hill. Listen to that. Let's see how he approaches these hairpins, because this is going to be quite something, I think. You can see how large this is. This is a Chevy machine with a big V8 in the front, but it is lumbersome. It is a big beast. You might recognise it from some of the Repco ads that you've seen over the last couple of years.
And he's having a lunch, Dan. He's enjoying this car. I just opened the door of our broadcast van so I could hear this thing going down Corkscrew. He's not hanging about. And I hope they put some performance brake pads in it for him, because he's going to murder them by the time he gets to the bottom of Corkscrew.
So it's a Chevy C10, but it's known locally here as the Repco Showtime vehicle. And he's having a bit of a showtime out there. Look at him. He's certainly giving it the big guns down into the hairpins. That looked a little bit understeery.
I'm sure it would be a bit understeery in that. Look at that. Perfect line. Yeah.
You're not going to miss Greg Murphy this weekend, are you?
You can't take the fight out of the dog, can you?
Oh, he's enjoying himself. Great to have him a part of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally in 2025. We go from big American muscle to the finesse of European motoring.
The finesse of an Alfa Romeo Spider, to be precise.
Yep.
One of their front-wheel drive versions. Could be a 4-cylinder twin spark or the 3-litre V6 at that point in time. But either way, a nice machine to drive. And we just saw a WRC tribute to Solitaire go through, as you would have seen Juha Kankkunen drive in the 90s.
Yep. And Sainz, I think, as well in that, wasn't it?
I think Sainz's livery was later, but don't quote me, Dan. It's a long time ago. That's not the one I saw Carlos roll.
No.
That was the one before that, not the organic shape.
It's as well, just at the end of the tour, got a Volvo S60, so a huge variety of machines right at the end of this tour. Got a Jaguar E-Type as well entered. I haven't seen that yet on the camera. Oh, there it is, the red one, I believe. There it is, the Jaguar E-Type. That's got to be one of the most expensive cars.
Who's driving that then?
The Jaguar E-Type, that's Vin Piscino. Vin Piscino and Justin Piscino.
Often described as one of the most beautiful cars ever made, the Jaguar E-Type. And I had a run in a V12 a couple of weeks ago.
Is that right?
With a mate, David Tomkin, who also has contested this event many times.
Oh, I think I might need to become mates with David.
Yes, you might. But it was a hoot. It really was. A hell of a thing to get in and out of, because the sills are so high, and then you sit right down in the floor. But a gorgeous V12 sound, and really the performance was quite spirited for a car that's getting a bit old now.
And there's the Volvo right at the end of the main tour. So we're going to start cranking things up now. We've got Spirit Tour next, and then we're back into the timed classes, Nick, to end proceedings with Challenge and TSD before the Prima Tour, the Friday-only Prima Tour. So lots of action still ahead of us. We're getting things serious again. We started with some serious stuff. We've had a bit of fun, and now we're going to go back to the faster machine. So Spirit Tour, a bit of a unique category within the Adelaide Rally, and here's a bit about it.
We might show you that later, but I can tell you a little bit about the Spirit Tour. There's 59 cars in this, Dan. Now these cars, if they're pre-86, they have to have a half roll cage. But some of the people in it, Tom Ferguson and his dad are in it, in their BMW 635, which is a tribute to the Jim Richards touring car. Ben Ald's in it in his GT3 Porsche. There's a couple of Focus RSs, 7 Porsches of all types and shapes, 14 Subaru WRXs, but also there's Mustangs, Mitsubishi Evos, a Ferrari 355 and a Ferrari 550 Maranello for the front engine Ferrari fans. There's some Ford Escorts, Datsun 260Z, Alphas, MX-5s, and these cars are released at 30-second intervals, not like the cars that we've just seen that were released at 4-second intervals. Now, the Spirit Tour is not timed, but it is limited to 120 kilometres per hour. So on the roads that we're looking at now, 120 kilometres per hour is really licensed to have a lot of fun. You won't even hit 120 kilometres per hour going down the corkscrew. And on Gorge Road, that's faster than you're ever allowed to drive on it on a normal day. So you're not going to get the attention of Mr. Plod. You're just going to enjoy both sides of the road and have a great time.
You touched on it there, Nick, but yeah, here is a bit about Spirit Tour.
Spirit Tour, redefining the spirited drive. Spirit Tour is a non-competitive class. It remains untimed and is monitored by rally-safe devices. This category is open to any cars. On stages, competitors may travel up to 130 kilometers an hour. Due to the increased speed, helmets must be worn and cars are released at 30-second intervals. This is a brilliant class to test the water and see if you'd be interested in competing in the Challenge, Competition or TSD classes against the clock in future years.
Pretty cool to have the Spirit Tour a part of the Adelaide Rally. What I was going to say, sort of alluding and continuing on from that point I sort of made, it really is a great little tester in to see if you want to take it more competitively going forwards.
It is, Dan, and look, I'm all in favour of stepping stones, tiered levels of motorsport, so you can put a toe in the water. I mean, for a start, the entry fee is less.
Yes, yeah.
Secondly, you can drive on closed roads, which, if you've never done it, it is fantastic. I much prefer driving on a closed road to driving on a racing circuit. It's great fun, sure, but to me, roads just provide so much more engagement. They're constantly changing, no two corners are the same, and when you've got no concern about people coming the other way or having to pass Nana in the people mover, you can have so much fun, and you don't need to be doing warp speed. 120 kilometres per hour through these roads is a good day out. You can have a lot of fun, and from that you then have a real life experience to say, okay, I want to go quicker, I want to actually have a crack at this, or no, that's enough for me. You might even say, I've done it once, that's enough, but most people come back.
Yes, yeah, absolutely they do. And we have seen people step up from Spirit Tour into Challenge in the last couple of years.
Yes, we have.
Including the Ford Focus driver.
Daniel Andrews?
Yes, Daniel Andrews in the Ken Block livery. Yeah, he was in Spirit Tour just a couple of years ago, and then last year was fighting for a podium in Challenge. So that just shows that you can move on. He is a regular in the category in the BMW, another one with JPS emblazoned all over the side. That's the 401 of Tom Ferguson.
Now, Tom's driving that with his dad, Chris Ferguson. Chris Ferguson used to co-drive for Andre Lukash in Chris's Datsun 240Z, and they won many classic categories of this event, many podiums. So I think it wouldn't surprise me if Chris and his son Tom are sharing the drive in this, because
I think you're right.
They're both pretty handy. Tom has run the 240Z at Colin Grove, and he's very, very capable steerer. He'll have a go. As we see Nick Adco go through in his Porsche. Lovely shape.
Certainly is. So I think you touched on it. I just jumped out the commentary box for a little bit just to open the door because it is getting warm, but I think you said they are spread out. They're not in the 4-second increments. We're back to the bigger increments of time between the different cars coming down. As we see a GR Yaris. You saw the GR Corolla earlier on, but this is the GR Yaris, the 403 of Daniel Kalisz, the well-known motorsport photographer. who's back for the, every year that I've commentated the event, he's taken part. So great that he's having a weekend off and enjoying the hills himself.
Well, that thing that you just touched on, Dan, the fact that they're 30 seconds apart, that's another part of the stepping stone aspect of this. Because if you're in the Tour, you're 4 seconds apart, you're going to catch the guy in front. And, you're going to have to sort that out between yourselves, who's wanting to drive a little bit quicker and who's not. But in theory, on a rally stage, you shouldn't make 30 seconds on the car in front unless you're, Cali Rovanperä. So these guys are actually getting a taste of being alone on a rally road, which is a feature of rallying, as we had another driver just question whether to turn right or left. They're getting a taste of having the road all to yourself, and because of that, it's not like circuit racing where you're trying to pass the guy in front. What you're doing is you're concentrating on, okay, my job now is to do the best job on this piece of road, to understand this piece of road, to engage with it. If you get to use notes, it's giving you a chance to develop those skills, and then you can, as I said, you make a qualified decision as to whether you want to go further. Yeah,
absolutely. Into the chicane, as I call it, comes the 409, I think that was, machine of Jonathan Linus. That's a 1990 Porsche 911. It is indeed Jonathan Linus. That's immaculate. There is not a scratch on that.
Carrera too. Do you think that the engineer who designed this road had a bit of motorsport background when he put that chicane in at the top? Because it really is a real-world chicane. Reminiscent of the one on the straight at Goodwood for the...
yes.
Yeah.
But unlike most chicanes in modern motorsport, there won't be any track limits abuse at this one, that's for sure. You'll be heading up the road where we're located if you shortcut it, or even straight ahead continuing on Montague Road. It's a phenomenal piece of tarmac, isn't it? Down the hill, you can see through the fast right-hander down the hill, and if you end up going in a bit too deep, you'll end up going up the hill where this camera is positioned all the way up that road there. So you got to you can quite easily overjudge that, and we may see a few of our challenge class cars struggling to get it stopped down there. The 413 doing a little bit of holding up. Alex Ramsey holding up the EA Falcon directly behind it there. Oh, the Mercedes. They're torturing the tyres through there, certainly pushing the limits a little bit more. That's the 407 of David Thompson, and alongside of him is Lee McVicker in their C63.
That distinctive note of the C63, that rumble.
Thunder.
Yeah. If you've ever been to Bathurst for the 12-hour, you hear that from the Mercedes in those past few years. It's just like no other car there. It's just a completely different sound.
Yeah, the Mercedes AMG GT, of course, they've stepped back into... they've stepped into the World Endurance Championship, not at the top tier Mercedes, but they are in the GT3 class with the Mercedes AMG. So they've been in GT3 racing, as you say, for many, many years of Mercedes, and as well, they are coming back in 2026. I think I saw that a couple of teams are coming from international to compete in Mercedes next year in the Bathurst 12-hour. So very much looking forward to that one. As an endurance racing fan, I look forward to the 12-hour just as much as I do the 1000.
Well, here's an example of what we're talking about. Now, clearly our Subaru punter here is a bit more keen than the fellow in front, and he will catch him. I don't know if they're allowed to pass. I guess they're probably allowed to pass if it's safe to do so, but don't press the point. It's not timed, and there's no prize. So let's just remember that.
This looks like a good crack, actually, down the hill. Nick, you've driven this stage quite a lot. As you say, they run it down, but in years gone by, they have ran it up as well. They pose very different challenges. Downhill, it's a lot about braking and rotating the car, whereas uphill, it's all about traction.
Yeah, it is about traction, but also if you carry too much speed, then you get that front end push again. And the corners are so tight that you cannot you just can't waste any time with understeer. There's just no point pushing the car that hard. You've just got to link the corners together and try and get that rhythm going, so that your speed for the entire corkscrew is good. And that sometimes means not being a hero on one straight. You've just got to think about, because you might have a straight that goes into a 3, into a 2. So those corners are getting tighter and tighter, and you have to bear that in mind.
What colour is that, Nick?
Blue.
No, wrong. Wrong, Nick, wrong. It's Monaco blue.
Monaco blue, right. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
As opposed to this, which is...
World Rally blue.
Yeah. No, that was David at the wheel of his Clio Sport 172 in Monaco.
Monaco blue. Right.
Great to have him a part of the event. I don't recall ever seeing the 2002 Renault Clio in the event before, so great to have him a part of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally.
Yeah.
Taking to those hairpins. Now, tell you what, a little Renault Clio from about 20 years ago, light, agile, and a fair bit of horsepower, very well suited to this stage.
Not to mention good value for money.
Yeah, correct.
So, and we've had this discussion before, if you wanted to do this event and you can put aside $10,000 to $15,000, you could set a car up, especially for this category. You mentioned the Renault, good choice. Ford Fiesta XR4, a car that came from the factory with the bigger engine, the better suspension, the better gear ratios. Another good choice. Very cheap to buy. Even aftermarket bits are cheap to buy. The brakes are good. So just go out and buy some extra good brake pads, which will set you back probably $400 for the front and the rear. And you've got something that you can punt at 120 kilometres an hour and have great fun. Car's got good manners, it's got good acceleration, and they're compact, they're nimble. You can have a ball. $15,000, that's not a lot to put aside to take part in an event like this.
Absolutely not. And that Subaru Impreza in iconic colours, wasn't it? A bit of a nod, tribute to the Subaru, the 555 Subaru, as it was in the late 90s and early 2000s, of course, driven to great success by Colin McRae, and also in the latter years by Peter Solberg, let's not forget.
Peter Solberg. Hollywood, as he was known to his fans. I remember being out on a stage spectating at Rally Australia in Perth, and the crowd singing the song You Are My Sunshine, but with Solberg replacing the word sunshine. You are my Solberg, my Peter Sol. So such was his following that he got the name Hollywood. And, oh God, didn't Subaru do a fantastic job of letting rallying sell cars for them?
Oh, 100%.
They had a following that was entirely built by their fans. They didn't need to spend $1 on advertising.
I will add one thing. It started by Colin McRae, who got the fans with his flamboyant driving style, fell in love with the car, and of course Colin McRae, and went out and bought one. So I think Colin really started that, and Subaru built on it from there.
Well, you've got a huge following of rallying in the UK. And of course they got on board with Colin, and as you say, he was either win or crash. And Nicky Grist was the first one to reinforce, would back that up. I mean, the great story of ringing David Richards and saying we've blown a tyre, we've had a puncture, when in fact they'd taken the front end completely off the car in an accident. So yeah, the masters of understatement, but Colin never held back, and I think it's a McRae thing.
Yeah.
Alistair will have a real good lunch today, and Jimmy McRae, 5 British championships. Can't ignore that.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of Alistair McRae, just been sent some more stage times. Alistair McRae's moved up to 7th position in the order. However, he's only 6 seconds behind the guy in 5th. So very tight between Jack Monkhouse in 5th, Stuart Reid in 6th, and Alistair McRae in position number 7. And add in Matt Selly as well, just behind that. So from 5th down to 10th, separated separated by less than 10 seconds, so very tight there. But Hayden Paddon continues to lead the way. His lead margin now out to 33 seconds. Only 11 seconds separate Alex Rouleau and Matthews. Oscar Matthews has moved up to third, and he's only 11 seconds behind Alex Rouleau. But I'll talk more about that in a few minutes' time. Let's turn our attention back to the Spirit Tour, because we've got a Mitsubishi Evo heading down the hill at the moment. Again, these cars have got a real cult following, haven't they? Of course, the rival to the Impreza was the Evo for many, many years, and this one driven by Mark Cicerello. It's a 2008 Evo 10.
Well, the car that took numerous World Rally Championships for Tommy Mäkinen, such to the point where there was a tribute edition Mäkinen. So I think it was
That's
an
right.
Evo 6.5, I think it was.
Yeah.
And had his livery, and what a sought-after car they are now, and a bit valuable too. I missed my chance on those. They slipped away. So, but yeah, they've made so many World Rally Champions.
This is Michael Galash behind the wheel of a Ford Focus RS in a lovely blue, sky blue I'd call that. It looks like the sky's reflecting on its roof. It is a glorious day here in the Adelaide Hills, in the little town of Cherryville. Many years ago, as you can see, we're located right by the church, but it did have a little post office as well, but that has closed in the recent years. As we look at Peter heading down the hill, that's Peter Castle with James Hayward alongside. 2008 Subaru WRX. This is just before they controversially changed from the sort of sedan model to the hatch that they moved to in 2009.
Yes. Well, even more controversial, Dan, was when they changed in, I think, 1999 to the 2000, which was called the Bug-Eye. And all of that was done for drag coefficient for rallying, because they decided they could pick up, another 3 or 4 miles per hour in top speed because of the shape. And the Subaru owners didn't like it. They preferred their old shape. But of course they hopped on board eventually, and they wanted the latest and greatest car.
Here we've got another of the GR Yaris's, of course, the car that has dominated World Rally Championship competition the last few years. Apart from last year, Toyota has won the last, I think, 5 or 6 Toyota Yaris, Gazoo Yaris, in the hands of Kalle Rovanperä or Sebastian Ogier. And I tell you what, that title is going very much down to the wire this year.
Sure
Who's
is.
going to win it? The veteran of Sebastian Ogier? Is it going to be the 2-time champion, the youngster Kalle Rovanperä, who's moving away into single-seater racing next year? Or for the first time, is it going to be Elvin Evans, who's
The
been around for
bridesmaid.
many... Exactly, the bridesmaid. So the 3 teammates are the only people that can win the title with a couple of rounds to go, and it's anybody's guess which one of the 3 it's going to be.
It sure is. And look, I think Elvin still leads by about 1 point.
It's ridiculous at the moment.
And in the last rally in Japan, so close on that last stage. I think it was only about 8 or 9 seconds apart after 3 days of rallying. So they're just phenomenal, those guys. Their skills are otherworldly, and a couple stepping away, Tanak and Kalle Rovanperä stepping away from the sport for next year. Ogier staying, and Oliver Solberg, son of Hollywood, getting a drive with Toyota.
Absolutely, yeah. Of course, he won in a one-off appearance, didn't he, earlier on in the year? So it's going to be great to see what the second-generation driver can do. As we look at an old-school Ferrari from 2.5 decades ago. Can you believe this is from the year 2000? It feels like just yesterday.
They don't
William
age.
Marshall at the wheel of his Ferrari 550 Maranello.
Beautiful car. Beautiful car. Front engine Ferraris, I think, are just so special, but you have a Ferrari 550 Maranello, which is I think about 450 horsepower, 500 horsepower, close to it.
I just saw Colin Zipfeld directly behind in the Mercedes A45 AMG. I didn't think he was here this year. He's recently been competing in TSD.
Well, they were the masters of TSD.
No, they were the, I think, runner-up. It wasn't them that won it last year.
I think in years before they just dominated TSD.
Okay. So
they probably got sick of winning.
They've certainly were in it last year anyway, that's for sure. So Colin Zipveld electing to pull things back a little bit and just have a nice tour rather than doing all the maths as they go. They're just enjoying the roads as they are, so that's pretty cool. See him back in Spirit Tour this year. TSD, Nick, we'll come on to that a little bit later. A very unique class.
We will. We have talked about TSD before. It has a number of advocates. The people in it just won't go away. They love coming back to do it. And in fact, one year there wasn't enough people to put the category together, and when Tim told them that, they went out and found more people so that he could run it. As we see a Mark I Escort, one of the quintessential rally cars, the sort of thing that Roger Clark would have driven in the late 60s in the Circuit of Ireland. And I talked to Frank Kelly yesterday about growing up in Ireland and watching the Circuit of Ireland each year with Roger Clark would have been a little bit early perhaps for Frank Kelly, but then he had Russell Brooks in the Mark II Escorts and Pentti Ricola and so on. So we see a 555 Subi.
That's a brilliant tribute livery. That's
Wasn't
amazing.
That last year the same livery, that car? I think we commented on it last year. But it is such a good livery, the 555 livery, and of course synonymous with their World Championship. But just great to see Subarus out there. Of course, the 22B Subaru, which is the two-door wide-body version that they rallied, now just making telephone numbers at auctions. If you haven't got 400 grand, don't even ask, because you're going to pay close to that for a road car now, and if it happens to have some rally victories to its name, if it's a competition car, we'll be prepared to pay a whole lot more than that.
This car's pushing a bit harder. This is one of the hardest pushes we've seen for quite some time. Look at that blasting past the camera there. I can't even spy what the number is on the side of the machine.
It's going too fast.
Yes.
But you can see, Dan, how much fun can you have under 120 kilometres an hour? If the road's tight, you can have a lot of fun.
And this is what Tim Possingham and the team at the Adelaide Rally understand. Tim, a former competitor himself, he knows what speeds you're doing. So he is really, and he and Jake Orker have done a fantastic job of designing this course so you don't need to touch those speeds. It's a technical rally, and that's why it's so popular, because these roads you can attack at full kilter and not run at 200 kilometers an hour. It is a safe rally in that sense.
It is, and we just saw the Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio of Matt Knighton, and I think now we're watching the BMW of
Darren Newell. It is
Darren Newell now, the M3.
Again, a car that's aged very well, but 23 years old now, this one.
And made for it. Just absolutely made for it. Spirited car to drive. And I was talking yesterday with one of the Escort drivers.
Of course you were. Of course you were.
They're the only people who talk to me, but we were talking about his daily, which is a Mitsubishi Evo. And he was saying that he loves the mechanical aspect of the Escort, that you feel everything that's going on in it. You feel so much a part of the car. Some of the modern cars, they're so sophisticated, they've got so many smarts in them, that you can become a little bit detached. But a BMW M3 is one of those cars, as what did you say, 25 years old this car is?
That one that we just saw, yes.
And that same mechanical feel about the car. Same with a 911 of those times. Just that mechanical aspect.
That's the little Toyota going through the 86, of course. What a phenomenal championship that has become in recent times. In the last 10 years, Will Brown, Brock Feeney, Zach Bates, the names that have come through the Toyota 86 series, Cameron Hill as well, Declan Fraser. Oh, that's a big moment. Tried a bit of a Scandinavian flick to very little success there. Flicked one way and heavily understeered the other.
The other way, yeah. Yes, the Subaru 86 category is fantastic to watch. The racing is so close. Watched it out at the Bend, and of course you get these young guys who really want a name for themselves. Sometimes trying passing moves that were never on, coming from 3 cars back, and it just makes it so spectacular to watch because they're all trying to develop a reputation and get a drive with someone. So good to watch.
That was Nick Wick who made that mistake down there in his Audi S5. So, yeah, he was certainly pushing the limits. I think he saw the camera and thought, I'll put on a bit of a show. And if anything, he probably made a bit of a fool of himself.
Look, I'm not going to be that harsh on him, Dan, but you are a tough taskmaster. But there is a saying that I was told when I first started rallying when I was a kid. And Greg Carr, who was Australian rally champion at the time, told me, never practice during the event. Only do the things that you know with confidence are going to work. Don't try I think what I'll do here is I'll just try this. And that's when you come unstuck. And I stuck by it all
That's
the
good
time.
Advice. Very good
Never
advice.
practice during the event. And so rallying, you can't practice because you can't go out and just drive flat out down a hills road. But you can practice your car control in motorcarnas and circuit sprints and that kind of thing. And that's where you try the stuff. What if I left foot brake? What if I just turn the car in later? What will happen then? They're all the car control things that you can try. Then when you're in the rally, you've got the confidence that this will work.
Old school Mustang going down the hill. What year would this be, Nick? It would be late 60s,
64.
early 70s?
Let's have another look at it.
We're going to have a look at the Golf liveried BMW instead.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't we? Some fantastic machines here this weekend.
Teal and orange.
I've already seen some cars that I want to take home, but unfortunately I don't have the bank balance to be able to do so. Any favourites that stick out to you so far, Nick?
I like them all too much. Obviously, John Moyer's Escort is next level build quality. That's just a phenomenal car. But
okay, not Escort, Nick. What not Escort do you want to take?
What would I take for a daily driver? Probably a C63 Mercedes. I don't know, or a BMW. There's too many good ones, Dan.
It certainly is.
I mean, if you rule out the supercars like a McLaren or a Ferrari, and they really are supercars. I mean, their power output and their handling dynamics are just hard to get to use them on the road, and hence this event. But BMW, Mercedes, daily driver.
We see your latest.
That was a bit of a mundane answer, wasn't it? Give me some thinking time, and I'll come back to you.
All right, I'll ask you tomorrow. How about that? So you've got to give me an answer then. Oh, good old fashioned pop-up headlights as the Solitaire
GT4
goes through. You've just read the rego. That's cheating, Nick.
I couldn't read the rego. I just saw the bonnet scoop, Dan, and I picked it from that. But, a very special car in their day. Everybody wanted one. Limited numbers, of course. Datsun 240Z and the late model Z.
It's good that they're together. That's really cool, actually. Look at the size difference, though. Crikey, cars are bigger these days, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
So we're coming towards the end of Spirit Tour now before we move on to some more of the competition classes, which I'm very much looking forward to. I have got a few results through from Challenge, which is good news. And
good.
I'll tell you what, Nick, it's not only tight, it's a dead heat at the front at the moment. I'll come on to that. I'm not sure if there's a couple more Spirit Tours to come through, so we'll come on to that when we can confirm that
Now, I
was
want to
the
know
end.
how our mate Jai Raymond is going in the Rover.
We'll just talk through these first before we move on.
So you're not
to
going to
Challenge.
divulge, okay?
I'm going to bring it up.
Okay,
while
all right. We're just watching the Zs. The Z cars go through and negotiate the hairpins at the bottom of this stage, and they'll be thoroughly enjoying it, I'm sure. Now, the tour categories, Dan, are not allowed to use notes. I must find out today if this category, Spirit Tour, are using notes, because they do have a certain safety requirements. As we see an Alfa Romeo Giulietta following on it, or is it a 33? Following the Celica, it's an Alfa Romeo Giulietta. So I can't. It is Alexander Thomas and Charlotte Bolto in their Giulietta, a 1.8 litre. Oh no, that was the 2 litre version that came out mid-80s. So it's getting a bit old now. 40 years old, that car. And the Healy.
This has been in this event for a good number of years, hasn't it? Great to see them back once again. This is the Berries, Simon and Jack.
And he is giving it the berries as well. I couldn't resist, man.
The Berries in Cherryville.
Another iconic rally car in the hands of Paddy Hobkirk, Irishman, back in the day, winning the Monte Carlo rally. And yeah, a spectacular car. Wouldn't be the easiest thing to drive. Big 6-cylinder engine. But they were very much king of the kids back in the day.
The Thorntons going through of Leith and Callan in the Mazda 6 as well. And now we've got a little Mini Cooper as well. So it really does show the different cars that we have in Spirit Tour. That's the number 450 of John Stacey. More of a modern. That's the Mini that I grew up with, really. What I call the last of the true Minis.
Well,
depends what era you grew up
that's a
in.
BMW Mini. And this,
yeah.
And look at this, Dan, a Ford Escort. Who would have thought? And just to keep you on your toes, that sound you can hear sounds a little bit different to your average Escort. No, that is an Escort. There is another one which is black, which has a rotary in it, and I thought it was going to catch me out for a minute, but that's definitely Weber noise, so you can hear that one.
Yeah, that was Ryan Thorpe going through a Mark 1 Escort in British Racing Green, which is, of course, the colours. Of course, in early years of motor racing, every country had their own colour, didn't they? There was British Racing Green, and every colour, or every brand that was representing a country had a different colour.
Monza red for Alfa Romeo and Ferrari, and the Germans were silver, the silver arrows.
Correct.
That's the name. French was French blue, Le Mans blue or Bugatti blue, they would call it. And you know, right from those early Bugatti 35s, they were French blue.
And all of the brands have stuck with those colours ever since, haven't they?
Yeah.
You know, MGs are still that MG green. You've still got
BRG.
Ferrari, of course. Red, Mercedes are still that factory colour of silver. So it's still continuing to this day.
And then the modern manufacturers carried on that trend with Subaru World Rally blue, Hyundai Performance blue, that lilac colour. Now Mitsubishi. Did they have a colour? I think it was whatever the sponsor was. Probably. I don't think they really... I think probably red for a Mitsubishi World Rally car.
Dylan, one of our camera operators, is tuning in. He says, what's Australia's colour? Australia didn't have a colour, unfortunately. Weren't producing cars for racing in that era, were we? What would Australia's colour be? Probably outback orange.
On a world stage, I don't know. I don't think we did enough.
No, we didn't. But
I mean,
what would it be? It'd be that sort of colour, the signage.
Yellow ochre, red ochre, yeah. Or wattle.
Yeah.
We had the follower coming through in the RX-7. Now this is a car that you'll see on any gravel rally if you go out to watch the South Australian Championship. You'll either be competing or a course car or following, but cannot be separated from the state championship.
Up next, we have the challenge class, and here's a bit of information about one of our timed categories.
Competition with limits. Challenge is a competitive category against the clock. However, there is a level playing field. Cars are limited to 130 kilometers an hour on closed road stages. Cars eligible in the category are modern or classic cars. Participants will leave at 30-second intervals and run under traditional rally regulations, meaning the team to complete the 30 stages fastest goes home with the winning trophy.
I'll tell you what, Nick, it is mighty, mighty close in Challenge this year already in the first couple of stages. It's so very, very tight. At the end of the first time stage, the top 4 cars were split by just 2 seconds. In fact, the top 5 were split by just 3 seconds. It has spread out a little bit. I've just been given seconds ago, while we're looking at that package, the third stage results. So this is seconds ago. They've just finished the third stage.
Not still?
Yeah, about to take to stage number 4. And at the front of the field, it's the 604 Subaru of the Spries. Who won last year. So it was the Spries and the Men's that were fighting last year, and it's very much the same again here this year. 5 seconds separate the two Subaru combinations, and then the guy who finished in third last year sits third again this year in the Ford Focus RS of Daniel Andrews. So just 8 seconds after 4 stages split the top 3, and the Rogers combination in their Subaru are just 4 seconds behind that. So very, very tight at the moment. Just 12 seconds separate the top 4 combinations in Challenge this year. I think I said coming in it'd be competitive. It's already proving to be the case.
Any sign of our mate Jai Raymond and Corey Fechner in the BMW M3?
Absolutely.
I'm keen to learn.
After the first stage, Jai Raymond and Jen Matherin Raymond, they did fall down towards the tail of the field. They are steadily moving their way back up now, so I'm not sure if they made a mistake or if they had a little gremlin. So they did fall pretty much to the tail of the field. However, they are back up into position number 9 now, and only 7 seconds behind that of McKellar in the 1993 Porsche that's in 6th position. Fechner is in 5th for your answer. Fechner and Chipman in their 1985 BMW M3.
What's the gap between Jai and the lead?
Jai and the lead is exactly 1 minute.
Okay.
A lot of that was lost in the first stage or two. So just to give you a bit of insight into that, in the first stage alone, Jai Raymond lost 32 seconds.
So Gremlin.
Since then, he's only lost a further 28. So that shows.
Okay, well, that stage was Eagle on the Hill. So I'd say that Jai has either had an electrical gremlin, commonly associated with British cars, and you didn't have to agree. I was having a go.
It's true, Nick.
But Jai would be the first one to agree with me, or he's bumped a curb on that Eagle on the Hill road, which is very, very easy to do. But if he's back up to speed, I'll make a prediction that he's going to pull 20 seconds on this stage.
Here it is, the first of our challenge.
Is that our leaders, Dan? That's
it's the men's.
Ben Mann and Brendan Mann. So they're running second, I believe.
Correct, yes.
And the Spries are first.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the Spries will be the 5th car through on the stage. So
and you can already see the difference in speed, Dan. Like that, these guys are limited to 130 kilometres an hour, but they're using all of that.
Absolutely, they are twisting through the S's down the hill.
Now let's see if a Subaru driver decides to use the handbrake through the S's, because four-wheel drive cars tend to not to want to turn through tight corners very much.
I do want to correct myself. Sorry, the men's won last year. The Spries are the runner-up. So at the moment, it's the runners-up that are leading the way ahead of the defending champions. I do want to make that plain. Ben Mann and Brendan Mann won the 2024 Challenge class, and it was their challengers of the Spries that are currently leading the way.
Right. Okay. Anyway, it's a hard-fought battle, and that's good, because this is their first long stage.
Yes.
They've only done 3 stages. They've only done 8 kilometres. And here's Jai, and there doesn't look to be anything wrong with that car right now.
What is a concern, though, is how close the car is behind, because, as I said in that package, they set off in 30-second intervals, and the car directly behind it is, what, 5 seconds behind? So it looks to me like he's probably already lost 25 seconds to the rally leaders in this stage. So, yeah, there's this rover.
That's...
Oh, no! He's hit the fence, I think. There are leaders there just... Streets of Adelaide, right in the Adelaide Hills, as we see the Evo head on through, really pushing the limits. We saw just before, didn't we, that big moment from the rally leaders. Do you reckon they got the fence? It was millimetres away.
I think he had a good look at the fence.
Yes.
They were on first name terms, but I don't think, judging by the way that he just continued on, I don't think there was any damage at all. But it just does go to show that when you get a little bit of push at the front, that's when you're going, well, gee, should I have used the handbrake or not? And so that you've got to be confident of what you're going to do. Am I going to steer through these corners, or am I going to use the handbrake. And if I'm going to steer through them, I need to position the car really wide on the entrance to the corner to get the apex and stay well away from that exit. As we watch this driver now, I don't know who this is, Dan, because it's a GR Yaris by the look of it, but
it is indeed a GR Yaris. You've picked that up correctly there, Nick. I believe we're on to the first of the TSD runners.
Okay. We did see a Jai Raymond looking to be going quite well as he went through there. However, the car behind him was only 5 seconds behind. And we're not really sure whether he has continuing gremlins or not. But the car certainly sounded good. It looked undamaged. And I think when Jai gets to Gorge Road, he'll be using all of the horses of that big Rover V8.
So for people that haven't watched the Shannon's Adelaide Rally before, TSD stands for Time, Distance and Speed, similar to regularity competition in circuit racing. So participants leave at 30-second intervals with a target stage time which they must hit. They can't exceed 120 kilometres an hour and they can't drive slower than 20 k's an hour. So they must be within those parameters to have a legal time set. You lose, it's a point system, you lose 1 point for every second you are slower than the target time, but importantly, Nick, you don't want to be faster than the target time. You get a 5-point penalty for every second you are faster than the target time. So it's all about consistency, and the last couple of years it's been dominated by the Renault Megane team of Chris Aldaker and David Greaves. They've won the last two in a reasonably dominant fashion.
Couple of Victorians who come over specifically to do the event. And look, it's not really my bag. I'd much rather be doing a straight-up competition. However, if you like doing maths on the fly while you're being driven around corners down Corkscrew, this is for you. And the people who do it come back again and again to do it. There's also another crew in the event, and as we see Tracy in the Beetle, with I think Gordon is her co-driver.
Yeah, correct.
And Gordon is a PhD in maths, so that proves what I just said. So if you like that kind of challenge, which is a bit additional to coping with the driving, they also were in last year's event, and you'll see shortly a black Falcon. I think it's a FG. Of a couple of guys who have driven the car across from Sydney and are now competing in the event. Now one of them has a history in V8 Supercars tier racing.
Correct.
And but you know, here they are choosing to do this. So it does have its own attraction, and the people who do it love it.
These guys, the Dallies, they've done very well the last few years, or Anthony Daly and his co-driver Cameron Vanden Heuvel, one of my favourite names to say in the rally, right. I may say.
I gave you that one specially.
These guys finished third in the TSD class last year, and they finished second the year before. They were right in the fight going into Sunday last year of taking out the TSD honours. However, they got a bit carried away trying to hunt down these guys. But you don't want to drive faster to try and catch them. It's quite an odd way of approaching TSD. You don't drive faster to try and catch them, you just have to drive more precisely to catch them. So they drove a bit too fast, accumulated too many penalty points, and as a result slipped to third position. But these guys last year, these are the defending champions in the Renault Megane, and what a brilliant performance they did last year. 48 points across the 30 stages accumulated in 2024, 46 the year before that, so even less. Last year on Sunday's 8 stages, they picked up a total of 6 points. 6 points.
I think they beat the car in second by about 40 points, didn't they?
It was in the end,
It was more than double their score.
Yeah.
So, I've done regularity events at Mallala Racing Circuit. We do a 6-hour regularity relay, which is an absolute hoot of an event. I've done it with about 20 mates in the team for 25 years. We've done that event. And it's a hoot. It really is a different kind of challenge, as we see Graham Modra coming into view in his golf liveried Mark 1 Escort, Pinto Power, I believe. And Graham, again, is a regular in this class.
He certainly is. Finished sixth last year, finished fifth the year before that. However, got his third different co-driver in as many years. So clearly, if the one next to you isn't delivering, fifth last year, sixth the year before, let's sack them. Let's get another new one. Clearly
the maths wasn't good enough.
Exactly right. Exactly. It's clearly not the driver. Graham Modra keeps coming back in the Escort. It's clearly the co-driver's fault. Well, he's got Amy Modra alongside this time. So
this could be the end of a beautiful friendship.
Exactly right. I think he might struggle to sack Amy Modra, that's for sure. But
unless they've all told him that he drives too fast and he's had to move them on.
Well, that's generally been the problem, Nick. That has generally been the problem, driving too quickly. So, yes, that's going to be an interesting combination. But what I'm really interested in this year, Nick, we saw a few of the cars to start with. We couldn't tell you facts and stats about them. There's a lot of newcomers this year at the start of TSD. We've gone through all of the regulars that have done it for many years. So I'm very interested to see what the newcomers are like to it, how in tune they are with the TSD class, and if they can maybe take the fight to some of these regulars of the Modras, the Dallies, and as well Oldacre as well. It's going to be fascinating to see if any of the new guys in the Subaru BRZ and the GR Yaris that we saw early on can take the fight.
That's the Falcon.
Yeah, this is the Gilroy combination. So as you say, Ryan Gilroy, still doing a bit of racing on circuit racing to this day. Has driven in Super 2 and Super 3 in selected rounds, and even got a few podiums in Super 3 as well.
And he's in with his dad.
Yes, correct.
So who's driving? That's what I want to know. When you've got a pilot like that there, which one are you going to choose?
Well, Ryan's down as the main driver anyway. I don't know if they're sharing the driving duties, but I believe Ryan is at least doing the bulk of them.
Dan, one thing that you just alluded to in that little delivery was that I think every category in the rally has grown this year.
Yes.
That is the best news you can possibly have, isn't it? There's Jay Dawson in his Rally Pack Mark II Group 4 look Escort with Pinto power. Man after my own heart with a completely old school car. His daily drive is a Mitsubishi Evo, but he prefers to rally this. It's much more fun.
I hope somebody at home's keeping an Escort count, the amount of times that Nick gets excited about Escorts. I think we're on a dozen at least already.
Well, they keep rolling them out. I can't, it's not my fault.
It shows what a competitive and fantastic rally car they were. Of course, they'd spanned generations, really, didn't it? The Escort was still around well into the early the Group C era. So it just shows how they span time and continue to still be competitive to this day. Of course, the likes of Alistair McRae and Moya, both racing Escorts right inside the top 5 or 6 cars in the outright competition and rally pro class this year.
Well said, Dan. Mark 1 and Mark 2 Escorts in their day were the most winning rally cars in the world. And even in 1981, when Audi were running the Audi Quattro, revolutionary four-wheel drive turbo car, Ari Vatanen won the World Rally Championship in the Rothmans liveried Escort. And look, at that time, there were people who, the Finns especially, who could drive on ice and, had this gift, were saying that four-wheel drive was for tractors. They didn't see it as a thing until it started to win, and then everybody wanted one. And Hannu Mikkola famously said if I can paraphrase him, the lack of flamboyance will be replaced by the joy of winning. Such was the car. But they were, in their early days, they were a bit of an agricultural thing. Stig Blomqvist once said that if he could get the car within a metre of the apex, he was happy with that. So that was a hell of a lot of development went on in those cars. And then the short wheelbase Quattro came out and was an absolute giant killer.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think that's concluded TSD already. Fascinating to know who's going to be leading that one as the days continue to go by. It's so easy to lose the TSD category so quickly. We said about the Dallies, didn't we, in the Hyundai? Oh, brilliant shot, this one, directly over the car. That is amazing. Just showing you how tight that corner is. So this is a different angle again from the drone footage, just highlighting how twisty these machines are. But yeah, that does conclude TSD. Up next, we have the Friday category, Prima Tour. So here's a bit of information about the unique class.
Primo Fun. The Shannon's Prima Tour takes place on Friday, visiting 4 stages throughout the morning. The total distance travelled is nearly 100 kilometres, including 26 kilometres on closed roads. It is a very laid-back tour, a great way to dip your toes in the water in the world of rallying. The tour is open to all cars with a speed limit of 100 kilometres an hour on closed roads.
So that will be coming up in just a few moments' time. Looking forward to seeing those cars come through, because as we say, we won't see them again over the course of the weekend. We've got a big group of them. The Prima Tour, we just spoke about every tour growing. Prima Tour, particularly this year, has grown substantially in size to over 60 cars this year, Nick.
And as you mentioned, Dan, great way to put your toe in the water. See if rallying's for you. And look, one of the features of rallying in Australia is it doesn't have anything like the popularity that it does in Europe. It's not embraced by the community as much as it is in the UK. So what is a rally? A lot of people don't even know. Like they'll ask you a question like, well, don't you get in trouble with the police? Well, no, because we're doing it on closed roads in closed conditions and everything's controlled and we're speed limited and so on. But the entry for this Prima Tour is about $600, and included in that is a couple of T-shirts and your lunch, and you know, for you and your co-driver. And you know, I think in a lot of these cases, Dan, their co-driver might be their partner. They're just out seeing if this is really for us, and it's a great way to get involved. And you'll soon make a decision as to whether your partner is going to be your co-driver or whether you best keep them as a partner and get another co-driver. But you'll also make a decision about, hey, I'd really like to do that for 3 days and go a bit quicker too. Such is the nature of the Prima Tour.
I've got an update in Challenge. I've just got the results from the stage that's just been completed. And although the Spries rubbed the wall, we saw them rub the wall on this stage, they have, despite that, extended the margin. It's a 12-second lead that they now hold.
No, I've got to correct you there. It was Daniel Andrews who rubbed the wall.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah. But that's okay. 6 seconds. Yeah.
12 seconds now, the lead margin ahead of the two men's. Andrews is in position number 3. We'll check up on that, because sure. We'll see who...
We'll go to the tape.
Yeah, exactly right, to see who it was. So Andrews is in position number 3. The two Rogers in position number 4. A further 16 seconds back. Then it was Robbie Brocklebank. He's doing really well this year in his Toyota Corolla. Always pushes 100,000,000%, not 110, 100,000,000%.
And again, that reinforces our argument of it doesn't cost a lot of money to have a go.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. As well, now it looks to me like Jai Raymond has lost a lot of time in that stage. He's now 1 minute and 45 seconds behind.
So the gremlin is ongoing.
It appears so. A guy who was inside the top 3 last year for much of the rally until a mechanical drama put them out of contention. But it's still tight, isn't it, in Challenge, that is for sure, particularly between those Subaru combinations.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm going to do, Nick, is while you talk us through a bit about this Cherryville location, is I'm going to have a look at the footage and just confirm who it was.
Well, man, Dan, if I'm wrong, then I'll accept the beating. So Cherryville first settled around 1840 and named after the fact that there were native cherry trees growing here. So the population took off a bit, and by 1890 the orchardists were planting cherry trees and growing them in the area, and
I'm certain. I'm just showing Nick now. It's the Subaru that understeers. Yep, it is.
It is
definitely
too.
the Spry
I stand
Subaru.
correct. I should have known better than to argue with you, Dan.
So
because your eyes are better than mine.
Despite that moment, I must say, Nick, two people wearing glasses, and we're talking about whose vision
and looking
best,
at a monitor.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
But it shows, despite that moment, that they had still able to extend the margin. But it is one of the largest stages in the rally. There's time to make up for that moment.
And look, it's a dicey thing, because you try to extend your lead, you can't go over 130 kilometres per hour.
Yeah.
And if you do, you'll be penalised. So it's a very, very tricky situation. If you do it often enough, they'll rule you out of the event. So it's thin ice that you're going on when you're trying to make up time. But yeah, Cherryville, good part of the world. Beautiful scenery, as we mentioned earlier. We're sitting on top of the world at the moment, at the very top of the Corkscrew Road, where you turn in from Marble Hill Road. Marble Hill, once upon a time, being the governor's summer residence. He actually had a summer residence at Belair National Park for a time, but they told him to move out of that because they thought it was a bad place for bushfires. So they built him a residence at Marble Hill, and then they had a bushfire and burnt Marble Hill down. So
that was Sean Bennett leading the way, who's a key member of the Adelaide Rally team. So we have to thank him for all the efforts that he's put in the last 12 months, not only in this event, but also in the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, to keep that one going. So he's enjoying his Friday morning before he gets back to work throughout the rest of the weekend. He's heavily involved in setting up the town stages that we have on Saturday and Sunday, Wairoa tomorrow, and then Strathalbyn on Sunday.
Yeah. And Strathalbyn is a lot of setting up. You'll notice tomorrow when you go to Wairoa that in any area where they feel that the car might become at one with the scenery or threaten the safety of spectators, there are big water barriers all the way along that stage. It must be close to 1 kilometre, Dan, and it's just lined with Armco or water barriers. Such is the priority that's placed on safety by Tim Possingham and his crew, organising crew and safety crew.
Absolutely, as they come on through. So this is another one of our tour events, tour classes, as the name would suggest, Prima Tour.
Another Ferrari fest, a Mustang being chased down by Ferraris. All good stuff.
Indeed, indeed it is. Through goes the Mustang and then the Ferrari next. Look at that, a Nissan GTR. There's Scott Pye in the bright orange Lamborghini Urus, the Sandown 500 winner last year. Great to have him a part of the Shannon's Adelaide Rally for the very first time, and it's actually a Shannon that's alongside him. Shannon Keeley doing the co-driving duties, a well-known media identity.
No shortage of horsepower in the Urus, about 530 kilowatts for an SUV. So if you're someone who's often late for work, that's probably the car for you. It'll get you there on time.
If you can afford one.
If you can afford it.
Yeah, it's a glorious piece of machinery, as is this. This certainly, you love your Escorts, I love my hot hatches, and that is certainly one of them, the Golf there that just went through the screens. BMW with the lights flashing there, so I'm not sure if the ABS being utilised. Of course, we will see that at some of our stages, particularly tomorrow when we're down at the Hairpin of Hermitage.
Mm-hmm.
The lights flash front and rear when the ABS is being utilised on modern day machinery, as many people may know tuning into the coverage. Unfortunately, you've probably been near an accident if you have had to do that.
Try to avoid them.
Yes, exactly. It's not a feature you want to use.
The stage that you mentioned this afternoon that might be a good destination if you want to spectate is the Stafford Hill Climb, and the first car goes through there at 13:40, so 20 to 2 in the old money. And but if you wanted to go out to have a look tomorrow, the first stage that we're doing tomorrow is Hermitage, and that starts, the first competition car is due at 9:15, and again, very, very easy spot to get to. you've got to come in from Golden Grove, from that end, and you'll be able to park virtually at the spectator point. So, and they'll have bunting across the road, and you can stand behind the bunting and watch the cars come towards you, and then negotiate a very, very tight hairpin, and the road drops away at the same time. So you'll see the front-running cars use the handbrake, and even some not so front-running cars who just love a crowd. And Jai Raymond being one of them. So that's another spectator destination for you tomorrow in the morning.
Absolutely.
If you need to revert to the website to find those details, just go to Adelaide Rally, click on spectators, click on the route for the entrance, and you'll find a picture of the Hermitage stage.
Couple of older BMWs just going through at the moment. A nice Z model there as well. Really cool to see that a part of it. And then a Evo Lancer directly behind. Big rear wing on the tail of that one. Certainly producing a fair bit of downforce there, that's for sure.
And you can see that in the challenge class, the cars were going quicker. We talked about 130 kilometres per hour that they're allowed to use, but they also have to have full roll cages, and they're wearing helmets and a lot of safety gear, unlike these cars that you're watching. No requirement for safety gear, no helmets, and hence the speed limit restriction to 100 kilometres per hour, which we're all allowed to do on a normal day, so no difference.
Oh, that's a great shot, that is, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Showing them snake through the Adelaide Hills here in Cherryville. We're located just, as we say, just east of Adelaide. And this region is quite high in the Adelaide Hills. It's around 493, so just shy of 500 metres elevation. A little town established back in 1840. And it's a fantastic part of the world. Just over 10 years ago, Nick, there was a big bushfire that came through here, wasn't there? The Cherryville bushfire. But it's great to see that all the vegetation has grown back in the last decade.
Yeah, bushfires, of course, a constant threat. As I said, they moved the governor's summer residence from Belair because they thought it was a fire risk. Moved it up here and it burnt down. So you can never underestimate the danger of the bushfires in the Adelaide Hills area. And if you're out spectating today, make sure that you pick up all your litter. Don't litter the area, and don't light a fire, because we're in the fire ban season. So
this is Neil.
I think we might be 1 week out. Oh, I think we're in fire ban season.
How good's that? The Jägermeister.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, this is a great mix. Unfortunately, we're not going to see these cars for the rest of the weekend, so let's talk about some of these that we're seeing on the screen at the moment. That's the Porsche 930, is it? Or is that another 911 that I'm being fooled?
No, it was a 911, early 911.
Yep, that's Dirk Janik behind the wheel of that one. Both the Janiks, Dirk and Wolf. This is their last stage of the rally, Nick, before they head off to have their finishing lunch, where Scott Pye will make a speech and talk to them about his rallying experience out there on the stage, out there at the lunch stop. Oh, we're turning back the clock with this, aren't we?
Oh, Tirana LC GTR, the very first of the quick Tiranas, the six-cylinder Tiranas. Then, of course, superseded by the V8s, SLR 5000s and L34s.
I look at that and I instantly think of Peter Brock.
Yes. It's synonymous, isn't it?
Oh, look at these.
And Clubmans. And they're all travelling together.
How good is that?
Yes, they are.
So we've got 3 of them, all nose to tail. In fact, I think we've got 5 or 6 of them. In fact, still there's a couple more behind that. So we've got Alistair Farmer, Simon Gigney, Evan Parker, Rod Hammond, Andrew Wilson and Peter Fritz, all of them in Clubmans.
Yeah, isn't that great?
That's cool. That is really cool.
You'd know that you'd been out in the elements after a day in one of those. You'd be. But as I say, it's a day out. There's a lunch with a guest speaker at the end of it. You're going to pick up a couple of T-shirts, and you're going to have a great time. They'll probably all go out to dinner tonight, and I dare say that they'll probably get together in Goodger Street Saturday night for the party as well. But Oh, look at it, Dan. It's a Clubman Fest.
Yeah,
look at
that's
this.
right. Yeah, this is a yellow one. Rod Hammond, that's the Rod Hammond one.
Yep,
oh,
with
we've
a-
even got a Martini one. Oh, this is fantastic.
With a Maserati in the middle. So.
We've definitely not seen this amount of club sports, let alone any, in fact, I think, in the Shannon's Adelaide Rally in the last few years, and a Maserati directly behind as well.
Yep.
Oh, can't we just keep the Prima Tour going for the rest of the weekend? This is
Well, there's no
great.
shortage of cars down there.
No.
There's 60 plus cars in this field. And as we said earlier, just another category that's grown again this year. Grown from 52 last year to 68 this year. So that represents a very healthy percentage increase.
And, as we say, a lot of people in Prima Tour dip their toe in the water to see if they want to do the full 3 days going forward. So we might see a lot of these guys back next year in the main tour, maybe even in the Spirit Tour.
Look, it's great to have people back year on year, but the best news we can possibly get is to have new people, because that secures the future of the event. And that's because of the advocates, the people who've done the event before and encourage their mates to come along and, speak positively about the event. And it's something that you just can't do any other way. You can't drive down a closed road. There's a lot involved in getting a closed road. You have to approach government months earlier, probably a year earlier, and they have to sanction it, and then the police will implement it, but it must come from government.
Just saw Tim Possingham going through the event director. He always does the Prima Tour on the first day just to check things that are running well and running smoothly. And the good news is it appears that they have been on this stage, which is very good news. But what a great job. So both Tim and Sean, as we say, both of them are heavily behind the scenes of this event, just going around these first few stages to make sure everything's in order. It's not only for new people, but a few of the old names are back again in the Prima Tour this year. Peter Altman's one of those. He's always at the Adelaide Rally and the Prima Tour, and we quite often see him as well in a nice sports car in the Adelaide Motorsport Festivals. Well, there is Tim in the yellow Porsche.
911, good colour choice. And Peter Altman loves his motorsport. You'll see him at the Colin Grove Hill Climb, and if he can't be there, he'll send a couple of his service advisors up in one of his cars. So it sounds like a pretty passionate dealership to be a part of. Mazda down at Morford Vale.
Yeah, really cool to have him a part of the event once again. But great to see that Tim, the event director, who puts so much effort into making this happen year on year, does have a little bit of a chance to just have a break for an hour or two and enjoy the sights of the Adelaide rallies. We say Nick, a former competitor, so he's
and a very good one, I might add.
Yeah.
Tim certainly held his own amongst all comers in this event. Early on in a black, pristine Mazda RX-4 coupe, which I think took the win in Classic in that year. Don't quote me, but I reckon it did. And then a number of different brands over the years that he's had a run in, and thoroughly enjoys his motorsport. Gets into it whenever he can, but more often than not, he's on the organisational end rather than the competitor end.
Tim Possingham was the last runner in the Prima Tour, so that does conclude the first running of this iconic stage here in Cherryville, and we're going to do it all again in just a few minutes' time. The second running of Cherryville Plus takes place, yes, in just a matter of moments, so not too far away. Make sure you stay tuned to the Adelaide Rally YouTube and Facebook page to keep up to date with all of the Adelaide Rally action on the live stream. As we say, we'll be back in just a few moments for the second run through this iconic stage. From myself, Dan McCarthy, Nick Lenthal and the Streamcraft media team, we'll see you shortly.